All right, what's going on, gamers? Rocks, what's going on? Smoking, what's going on? Grade review episode 10. Can't believe we've already done 10 of these, to be honest. I'm very surprised that we've gone to this gone this far, honestly. We got a ton of cards today. I was actually preloading some of the ones that we have lined up, and I think my computer started to like bog down from the amount of tabs that I have open. So we definitely have some that we couldn't get to last week that I was kind of bummed that I wasn't able to get to. One of them being this Mewtwo Gold Star. But yeah, welcome guys. This is Grade Review. For those of you who are new here, welcome. This is a weekly stream where we review the community's cards for free and give both my own perception on what it would get graded through PSA, as well as getting the community to weigh in on what the cards would get graded. So it's a totally free service. We have a Discord link on where to post these cards. If you go to the pinned video, the thumbnail should read grade review and how to. You can submit your cards there for a chance to get them assessed on the live stream like you're seeing now. Just Waffle, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So first, we're starting off pretty strong here with a Mewtwo Gold Star. Probably one of the cooler Gold Stars in my opinion. Imp, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So, what we like to do is we like to start off with the edges here. So, with our little magnifying tool, let's get into it. Hey, Betty, how's it going? Welcome back, welcome back. So, this card's looking pretty good. I will not lie. Corners look sharp, edges look sharp. Not a lot to assess, which makes my job easier, and that's a good sign for you. Red Pill, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And before I continue, this submission is by Killjet. So Killjet, thanks so much for these. Yeah, for sure. Aaron, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so the surface of this card, super clean. And the good thing about this submission specifically, and I can kind of see it's a little bit grainy just based off of the picture, but there is a scratch kind of by the thigh, as well as some little hairs, but that's okay. Is that this submission also has some different angles that we can look at too, which is really nice. So this also highlights that there are really not a lot of scratches on the front of this card, which is huge. Again, really clean looking card. Normally you would see a bunch of scratches, and even on this picture too. This is a really good one to use as an example if you're thinking about submitting. If you have kind of high value hollows, it's a really good idea to show different angles. So Killjet doing a really good job here. And you can really see there's really not a lot of hollow scratching on the front of this card, which is huge. So we got some on we got that angle. We also have this angle. Really the only thing that I see is, I'll bring this up a lot, is if you have a microfiber cloth, you can kind of see these little white specks here. That's more than likely just little pieces of dust or debris from the card stock if it was in a pack, that in most cases you can just kind of wipe that off without damaging the card, which is a really good way to improve on your surface score if you get this graded. But I would say overall, based off of this picture, this front shot, this side shot, as well as this kind of overexposed shot, you're looking really good. Even the centering is pretty good as well. But let's flip it over. So I'd say for the front, as of now, you're really looking at a 9 possibly. Like the only thing that I could probably critique if we're looking at like 9 to 10 is that this top part might be a little bit thicker than the bottom, but it still might be within that 10 range. So before I review the back, let me read a comment real quick. Red Pill, what is the best practice when thinking about regrading one that is in a slab? So in my personal opinion, you should never submit a pre-graded card as like a regrade. So like, for example, if you have the card graded as a BGS or CGC and you're trying to cross grade it with PSA or another company, there is still a degree of bias. You can't prove it, but you have to think about it from their perspective, right? Like you're saying that, hey, I got this card from from one of your competitors, grade it better, you know, or worse or whatever. So there is going to be a degree of bias going into it. So anytime someone asks me a question like that, I always recommend very carefully cracking the card. And I have a video on how to do that. It's somewhere, it's not too long ago, on how to crack a card, but I would just submit it as raw. I wouldn't do like a regrading. I wouldn't submit it like, so if it was graded through Beckett, I wouldn't submit the card graded and use like the cross grading to PSA. I would actually crack it and submit it as though it's a raw card. That's my honest opinion. All right. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. So the back. So again, we always like to look at the corners and edges so we can kind of see here that this right edge does have a white ding, so that is going to take back from the corner grade, as well as this left edge. But honestly, this left full edge is actually really good condition. It's really just the corners that I see most of the whitening. There is some slight whitening on the bottom of the card, but it's really the biggest thing that's taking this back, but really not by much. It's just the whitened corners in the top right, top left, bottom left, not so much, and then the bottom right. But all in all, the surface of this card is really standing out to me, especially on the front side. But it's just really just the whitened corners and edges. So actually a really clean card. So again, for those of you who are new here, this is where the chat grade comes in. So I am going to start a poll. It should, now that I have got some feedback, it should pop up in the top left-hand corner of your device that you have a chance to actually weigh in on what you think this Mewtwo Gold Star would get. So here is the front of the Mewtwo Gold Star. Again, really clean based off of these front shots. And there is the back. And again, really the only thing that I've noticed on the back is just these whitened corners, but the edges are pretty clean. So if you want to vote now, we'll see what the chat score is going to be. And as you guys are doing that, this is my chance to catch up with chat. That's honestly one of the main reasons I like doing it. So, Adam, thanks so much for sharing the live. Appreciate that. Cool Kanto, thanks so much for following. Submitted with who? Yeah. I primarily just submit with PSA, only because I just have the most experience with them. Danny, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And I have Mo Lifes. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, so we're getting some PSA 8s, PSA 7s, 7, 8. Aaron, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, and if you guys haven't, there should be a poll, like what Betty's saying in the top left-hand corner. That way we can, because once the poll ends, I'm going to take the average of what the end of that poll is. So yeah, that's what I was noticing too, James. Like, if anything that I could really critique on this card is really just the centering, but it's really not even that bad. I'd still say it's probably even still within like a centering score of 9 from the top bottom. But yeah, I agree with you. That was really the only thing that I could see from this top part compared to the bottom. Yes, I do clean. I actually had a stream yesterday. I bought a collection that I've been cleaning. It's been like a 50 card collection that been painstakingly cleaning, but it's been worth it for sure. Yeah, I hear you, James. I hear that from a lot of people. Yep, that's what we're doing right now, Chris. We're just doing a grade review. So all these cards that you're going to see on stream are cards that people have submitted in the Discord, so it's a free service that we do. If you want to learn more, just check out the pinned video. Should be called Grade Review and How To. Give that a watch, and yeah, just submit your cards and we'll review them for free. Holden, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Betty, I appreciate you being the mod. Definitely means a lot. Pear, thanks so much for the follow. All right, so we are ending the poll. So a majority of you are saying 8 or higher. So 8 plus. Okay, so what do I think this Mew Gold Star would get. So again, the front of this card, the corners and edges are super sharp, super clean. We also have the benefit of looking at the holo at different angles. So the bottom text, super clean. There's no scratches or damage that stand out to me at all, as well as this overexposed shot. Really, I'm looking for the holoing behind the Mewtwo itself. Again, not really seeing much. The only thing that I could critique is that it might be a little top heavy, but I think it's still within a 9 range. So if we flip it over, we are seeing some more whitening on the corners as well as the edges. So we have one on the top right, the one top left, a little bit in the bottom left, as well as the bottom right. We also have some whitening on the bottom as well. So I would say for this card specifically, since the front is so clean and it's really the back that's kind of holding it back, I would probably say that this card would get a 7, would be my guess. So chat grade is 8+, and then my grade is a 7. But again, a really beautiful for a gold star. Whew, this card is amazing looking. So definitely kudos to you to keeping this card as clean as it is. So before I go, let me queue up the next one here and let me catch up with chat. So we got a Gyarados Delta species, reverse holo. So before I start with this and zoom out a little bit, I'm going to catch up with chat because you guys are awesome. All right. Pear, thanks so much for the follow. Do we get an answer on what the grade is? So honestly, John, it really just depends on whether or not the person actually decides to submit them for grading. We were actually lucky enough from one of our members named Pork Chop that we graded we assessed a Typhlosion, a Mew-EX from the most recent set from Paldean Fates, as well as a Korokoro Mew, which was really cool. And the grades that we assessed during the stream actually, surprisingly enough, ended up being what they actually got back. So that was super cool. So yeah, it's totally optional on whether or not people actually get their cards graded at the end of the day. But it definitely is cool to see and kind of follow up with anyone that does decide to get graded or get these cards graded after we review them. Yeah, Petty, you're definitely being the bot. I appreciate it. Awesome, Bill. Thunder, thanks so much for sharing the live. Bruno, thanks so much for the follow. Yeah, Poke, I do grade. I do grade cards. I've been doing it for quite some time. And yeah, I've been doing it since probably 2017. So do you need to unsleeve the card? Yes. Yep. Yeah, because it just makes it easier. Because the more glare, so you can kind of see with this picture, for example, there is a sleeve, but it's behind the card. So Killjet just set the card on top of it. Because if the sleeve's on top of it, it's really hard for me. Because again, I'm only looking at one picture that you guys take. So if there's a sleeve on it, if there's lighting, it makes it harder for me to know if there's scratches or whatnot. So, hey, Trav, thanks so much for the heart me. Appreciate that. Nice to see you. And I definitely appreciate all the follows and likes and shares, guys. It really does mean a lot. Again, I like to do a lot of these services for free for the community. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. My philosophy is I think it's kind of silly for people to have like Patreons to charge you $20 a month to like look at a scratch or dip a Q-tip in water and clean your cards. So I do this as a hobby and I try to give back to the community as much as I can. So I definitely appreciate it. Much love, much love. This card does go hard. I love, this is very like, kind of like Vaporwave vibes. Like a lot of like Hotline Miami, like Grand Theft Auto, Vice City. Like this is sick for sure. Yeah, Manny, just check out the pin video. It's called Grade Review and How To. It should be on the top of my profile. It's about 45 seconds. Give that a watch and it'll explain what to do. But yeah, Delta Species is sick. All right, so we got the Gyarados Delta Species. So for those of you who have never seen one of these reverse rares, so we know that this is a reverse holo because this is one of the few sets that actually had the set name in the bottom right-hand corner. which I thought personally was such a cool concept and it's such a cool idea that I kind of wish they kind of brought back. But nonetheless, that's what that looks like, which is super cool. So the other cool thing about this one is that the lettering is actually hollowed. So for getting a reverse hollow, these are the ones you want to get. And this card looks absolutely gorgeous. So it is a little bit blurry. I think we can still work with it. The only thing with the blurred edges, it kind of makes it difficult to see the sharpness of the corners, but I think based off the picture, it looks okay. Let's see. Might be something here by the tip of my mouse, but that might just be like either a little dust or like a hollow issue or something. But all in all, the edges are really sharp. That might be something there. That might be a corner, like an edge ding, but it might be lighting. I'm probably going to chalk it up to lighting. So if we look, so I am seeing some scratches here. So in the dark section, so we have one right here where I'm kind of highlighting my mouse, as well as right here between this V of the Gyarados' brow. So we do have some surface scratches. We have one right here, as well as this top right-hand corner. So the surface is a little bit dinged. And maybe I'd still say it's within like a 9 grade centering. But the right side looks a little bit heavier than the left, but not by much. But it's really just those scratches on the front surface. And as well as some of these, this might be able to get cleaned off with a microfiber cloth. I'm basically going to say that ad nauseum, so be prepared. But these might be able to get cleaned off pretty easily. So let's flip it over. And kind of the same thing that we saw in the Mew Gold Star, to be honest. So we have some whitened edges on the top. Poke, thanks so much for the tiny diny. I feel like you always send those. I definitely appreciate it, though. We got one in the top left. This left edge is really clean, actually. And it's just this bottom right edge that has more. So it's really this top center, top left. This left edge really clean. This bottom corner actually pretty good. There is some whitening more on that bottom edge, more towards the right. And again, this glare kind of makes it difficult to really see if there's any whitening, so we can't really judge too much on that side. But it is what it is. And then we do have some whitened dots. These look more of like surface wear and less of something you can actually wipe off or clean. But yeah, overall, not too bad. So let me get a new poll here. So poll is live for the Gyarados. So there is the front, and there is the back. So the poll should be active on your device now. And while you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up with chat. And man, you guys are crazy. There's a ton of new follows. I definitely appreciate it. I don't mean to miss anyone, but definitely means a lot. Yeah, Delta Species, so sick. Emery, Dead, Crash, Nate, Aaron, a baby rhino. Thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate it. DJ, thanks so much for the follow. And yeah, if you guys want your vote to count, there should be a poll that's active on the top left. I think it should look like a clipboard. So I see some votes coming in now. We're actually pretty close. We have almost a tie vote between 8 or higher and 7-6. So again, this is the front of the Gyarados, and this is the back. Shay and Bradley, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, these are some of the cards that you guys submit are crazy. Yeah, the tiny white specks kind of, it really just depends on how many there are, to be honest, for a surface grade. Nice, Chris. Yeah, I'm not just kind of looking through the queue. I'm not to be transparent. I don't think we'll get to you today, to be honest. There's just so many in the queue. But zoom in on the middle bottom where Flash is hitting. Middle bottom. Yeah, if you're talking about the back, because this is really where like the Flash is the most. This is where we're covering. But all right, so with a nail biting, let's see. So we got 8 or higher is the consensus by chat. All right, so what do I think the Gyarados Delta species will get? So corners and edges of this look really clean. The only thing that I saw on the front were these scratches right here. So there is one here, as well as some in this dark section by its spine, as well as in that top right. So far, I'd probably say a 7 on the front, but let's flip it over. And we do have some whitened edges, whitened corners on the top, some white particles that we can probably get rid of, as well as some in the bottom right-hand corner as well. And we do have some in this top section, but not too bad. And then otherwise, I just see maybe some centering on the left and to the right, a little thicker on that left side than it is on the right, and kind of vice versa. So I think based off of what I'm seeing on the front and the back, I probably would say a 7. The only thing, again, we don't really know what's showing on this edge. If there's anything worse on this edge, I'd probably say a 6. But based off of what we have, I'd say probably a 7. But man, the Delta species and like that EX era, whew, that hit different for sure. So before I load up this Kyogre, catch up with chat here. Yeah, Mus. So if you just submit in the Discord, just check out the grade review how-to video that's pinned on the channel, and that'll definitely get you caught up to speed, for sure. It's all good, baby. That's why I'm here, man. It's any questions you have or any, like, if you want someone just to kind of take a second look, I'd be more than happy to help you out. Kyle, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so while I load up some more, I'm just going to have to make a quick phone call. So again, I'll be right back. Kind of a pseudo family emergency, but just give me 1 second. And I will be right back with, so we got the Kyogre, and we have a few more from Killjet. So I will be right back. So just hang tight, and I will be right back. You guys entertain yourselves. Look at that, chat. Made it back. Made it back just in time. Thank you so much for hanging out there with me. You always have to love when someone says it's a family emergency and you end up having to be the family IT guy. So that's always awesome. So I'm glad I was able to get my aunt logged into her Facebook. So congratulations to me. I was able to save the day. Man, for those of you, on a side note, I'm going to step on the soapbox here for a second. For those of you who have to act as the family IT person, I salute you 100%. That's it, man. Turn off and turn it back on again. That's all you got to do. Can you give me your opinion on my Mewtwo V-Star? Yeah, once I'm going through the queue, Muss. It's kind of like a first come, first serve. I definitely see your submission, for sure. I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. So I definitely appreciate the patience. Right, Chris. All right. So what are we thinking of the Kyogre? So let's take a look. Yeah, Muss. So if you go to the pinned video, the grade review and how to on my TikTok profile, just give that a watch. It's about 45 seconds. It'll give you all the instructions that you need. Okay, so Kyogre. So right off the bat, I am seeing some pretty significant scratches. Because again, normally I like to kind of just look at the edges and surface, or corners rather. But you can really see some pretty big gashes here on that left side, as well as kind of under the eye here as well. So it's pretty rough. And I also think that this one was actually one of the submissions that had, yeah, yeah, that was definitely the scratch that we were saying. That's definitely more than a scratch, that's for sure. So right away, we are looking in like the PSA 3 or lower category, for sure. Yeah, Mario. Well, again, like it had some Kyogre. Honestly, has some of the coolest promos that I've seen. To be honest, Chris, I plan on streaming probably for about 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on how energetic I feel and how good the vibes that I'm getting from chat. Because we definitely got a ton of cards to look through. So yeah, we're really just kind of starting from because that bend is pretty significant. But surprisingly, the scratches on the Kyogre itself aren't that bad. Like all things considered, especially considering that pretty big bend. So it's really just that bend that's taking it back. But as we flip around, let's see if we flip it around. Man, we have whitened edges, we have surface damage, we have corner dings. We are checking every box that you can possibly check. Here, so here's that crease on the back side. You can kind of see it discolored right here. It's from dark to light. So that's definitely something. We'll also have some curled edges there. I mean, have some whitened spots there. Yeah, this card's pretty rough. I am not gonna lie to you. I am definitely not gonna lie to you. So yeah, let's take a quick poll. I'm curious what you guys think. I actually saw some different numbers floating around. I saw some 5s, some 4s, some 3s. So I'm actually curious what you guys think. So a poll is now live in the top left. So if you want to give that a vote. So that is the front of the Kyogre. And here is the back of the Kyogre. So let me flip it to the front so while you guys vote, because that's probably going to be your biggest tell is this bad boy right here. But let me catch up here. Yeah, for anyone that's worried about the pictures that you're submitting, I'll definitely let you know for sure. So don't sweat it. And if you want any other instructions or anything like that, I also have those pinned messages as well. That kind of gives some helpful hints and tips. That was a tongue twister and a half. So Mewtwo, this isn't like exactly like they'd obviously have the card in their possession. But for the things that we're looking for, which are centering, corners, edges, and surface, those are the 4 main criteria that all grading companies that are legitimate will consider. I also argue that there's probably a 5th hidden one, which is eye appeal, which also kind of factors in as well, but it's not an official by any means. It's all about the backside, baby. Jordan being the PSA grader that everyone wants, just gem in everything. But yeah, they'd definitely take more. They'd actually see it and review it under microscopes and all that stuff. And by the way, Poke, thanks so much for the I see you. I really hope you don't, because that means that you're peering through my window. But but I appreciate it. They do, Mario. Yep. Actually, so when I'm not doing these streams, I actually do like cleaning streams that involves using a microscope that you put the cards underneath and you can really tell where those little imperfections are. Yeah, just toss it, Mal, right? Use that as a coaster. But yeah, they definitely use microscopes. They definitely use like measuring tools. Yeah, American can attest. American, Poke's been around for those cleaning streams for sure. So, if you don't trust me, trust them. They're not paid, by the way. All right. So, we actually got some... It's interesting. We got a actually pretty decent spread. So, we have 2 voting for 7-6, 2 for 5 or 4, but the majority is 3 or lower. So, we got less than 3. So, what do I think this Kyogre EX would get? So, really, the big picture is this one. This one highlights the biggest amount of damage. So, this dent increase right here, I am pretty confident that that would be at least a 3 to start off, even before looking at anything else. I think this is going to bring it down to a 3. So, if we flip it around on the back, we're really looking for any more creases or dings or damage. And we're seeing a lot of surface wear. We're seeing a lot of whitening on the top, left, right, just literally all over the card. But we're really kind of seeing if it's worth giving it a 2 or a 1. And if there was more whitening, I definitely would say a 2. But it's really just like if this crease wasn't here, I would probably give this card a 5. But since it is, I probably would just give it a 3, in my honest opinion. Yeah, because that crease is pretty rough. Whose card? YG all over the place. So whose card is this? So it is. So this was, I think, Killjet, I'm pretty sure, in Discord. Yeah, Killjet. This is their card. Man, I'm really hoping my power doesn't go out. It is so windy at my house. And for those of you who are in like the like in the tornado belt right now, oh my god, it's crazy. So if you guys are around there, definitely stay safe. It's been crazy, like the weather right now in the States. Definitely don't ignore the sirens, that's for sure. So yeah. So now we got some cool Pop Series cards. Probably this Lugia and the other legendary that's following suit. These are probably my favorite versions of their printings, to be honest. I think they're some of the cooler looking cards for the Lugia and the upcoming. Yeah, Mario, there's definitely some people that look for the Anti-10 or the PSA 1, so you're definitely, if you guys have seen the Swampert EX video that I posted, that was the first shot at the Anti-10 that we've done, and boy, that card was beat. There is no question about it. Can you get a 0 if you just crinkle the whole card? So 0 essentially would be that they just don't grade it, to be honest. It's either 1 or nothing. Yeah, if they're bad enough to where like the structural integrity of the card is no longer present, is like the nicest way I can put it. They just won't grade it. All right. So again, we are in the your first edition Charizard comes in at a 1. That'd be sick, to be honest. I really hope I'm sure he'll show it off, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Okay, Pop Series 5 Lugia. This card is so nice looking. And one thing that we'll have to note that I'll highlight too is the actual printing of this card. Makes it look like scratches, but I will assure you they are not. So I will say at first glance, the right side is slightly thicker than the left, but not by much. So it'd probably put it in like the 9 range for centering score. Edges, corners look good. Nothing too bad. We do have a little... I don't know if it's common for these cards, but I'll just kind of say it right here. We do have what's known as Hollow Bleed, which is pretty cool. So for those of you who have never seen Hollow Bleed, and I don't know if this is common for this, but I think it's just kind of cool, just use as an example. Mal, thanks so much for the heart puff in the GGs. It's so I will say some of the GIFs on TikTok are just so funny to me. But I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, so the Hollow Bleed is where the hollow foiling actually bleeds into areas that shouldn't be hollow. So you can kind of see, there's a really good example above the bolt. We have some hollow above and below. So that's always super cool to see. They took the fire gift. Well, I'll take the GGs any day. I appreciate it. Can I do the Harlem Shake? It looks like this Lugia is doing the Harlem Shake. You can kind of see the shadows. And this is what I was kind of highlighting about some of the scratches. Where at first glance they may look like scratches, but I actually think it's part of the design to make it kind of look like it's in movement. So, but really the only scratch that I actually do see is probably right here. And right here where the tip of my mouse is. Why am I doing this? Man, that's a... Why am I doing this? What's the meaning of life? Why am I here? Just to suffer? So I'm just doing this just to do something to give back to the community, to be honest with you. It's, you know, I think there's a lot of people that get misled, especially in the Pokemon content space, on if you have these cards, you'll be able to buy a Lamborghini, you'll be able to buy a house. And I'm just kind of here hoping to act as a person that kind of cuts through that BS that is oftentimes advocated. And so I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible. Like, I don't want people to go to their LGS and say, hey, this Lugia is going to be a PSA 10. You're rich. It's like, well, it's not true. I want you to be as educated, as informed as possible so you don't get scammed at the end of the day. That's really kind of why I like to do it. And I don't see a lot of people doing it. So I think it's kind of a, I'm not a big fan of, like, me personally. I don't like the whole rip and ship content. There's enough of them out there, and I just didn't want to be just another rip and shipper. So I figured, I kind of have some idea on grading. I'm obviously don't get paid to grade, but I think it'd just be cool just to see if people like what I have to say. If you do, cool. If not, great. So that's why I like when you guys follow and share and like the lives. It's good feedback to me that there are people out there that actually do like this style of content. So that's my really, really long-winded answer, as well as showing appreciation to use the community sticking around and hearing me yap for 3 hours straight. So I definitely appreciate it. Did I already sell out of that machine already? I don't see it in the shop. I did not, Robo. I'll definitely give you the link for sure to the one that I use, because it also supports me. But I'll definitely hook you up for sure. I have an affiliate code with them. All right. So enough yapping, right, guys? So for me, I just see these two scratches right here. So this one in the kind of the cloud, and then one right here. But other than that, this card's looking really clean in terms of surface. So I'd say probably so far, probably looking at an 8 on the front, but let's look at the back. So we have some whitened edges on the top. Have some whitened corners in the top left-hand corner. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking here. Got the bottom left, the bottom center. Have some scratches on the bottom right-hand corner. So yeah, it's really just the whitened edges and corners. That's all I really see on this Lugia. So there is the front of the Lugia. There is the back. And as always, let's have chat decide. So a new poll has started, chat. What do you guys think? So this is the Lugia on the front. And this is the Lugia on the back. So I'll put it on the front, and let's see what you guys think. Yeah, Mario, I don't want to come off as saying that I don't think rip and ships are fun. I definitely think that they are a fun option for people. I just think that there's so many of them that it's like, do I want to be another one? Not really. I think there's enough really good content creators that do it and have been doing it for much longer than myself. So it's kind of like, let them have their space. And I think that this was a space that didn't have a lot of people in it. So I figured, yeah, why not? Why not give it a shot? DP, thanks so much for the follow and the sharing of the live. Definitely means a lot. So Jonathan, all the grading that I do personally is just through PSA. So I'd say the big three that I advocate for the most is PSA, BGS, and CGC. But yeah, I hear you, Chris. It was definitely really popular, obviously, during COVID, because the people who had a large inventory or had a license to get product through a distributor really dominated that market. But then the more people that were home, the more people that did it, and the more people that kind of stuck with it. So there's definitely not a shortage of rip and shippers for sure. But again, my big thing with them, really my big thing, I should probably even correct myself. My big thing with some rip and shippers is that, oh, here's this card that you just opened on stream. This is going to be a PSA 10 and it's going to be worth $2,000. And it's like, is it really going to be a PSA 10? Like, you're because you're like, when you say PSA 10 and you put that huge dollar amount, you're kind of leaning into like, you just hit the jackpot, like gambling side of the collecting hobby. more so than buying the card and getting a cool hit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my opinion on it. Obviously, again, everyone has their own opinion, but saying everything's a PSA 10 is very misleading in my opinion. Oh yeah, Patrick, that one's crazy. Where like some rip and shipper like tries to get hype over a 50-cent V when the person that's watching had to do like a $20 buy-in. It's like, man, how do you hype that person to where they actually want to buy stuff from you again? It's like, oh wow, dude, that's so cool. You gotta I don't know. I don't even know what's like a Lechonk V. That's sick, bro. Hell yeah. Oh, it's too funny. All right, so let's see. So chat, I'd say overall is thinking 7 or 6. 7 to 6. And good timing, Bus. Let's see. So what do I think this Lugia from Pop Series 5 would get? So corners looking good, edges looking good. The only thing that I saw was centering. Was the right side's a little bit thicker than the left, but I'd still say it's probably within like that centering 9 grade. And for scratches, the only two that I saw was one slightly right here by the tip of my mouse, as well as right here in that smoked section of the left. So as we flip it over, it's more of the whitening in the corners that's what's kind of taking this score back. So we do have some whitening in the top right, as well as the top left. We do have some specks that may or may not be able to get removed by a microfiber cloth. We do have some abrasions on this left side, some whitening in the corners, a pretty noticeable ding on the bottom center, as well as some scratches in the bottom right. But I'd say overall, it's not as bad. So I would probably say with that, you're probably looking at a soft 7 would be my guess. Depending on if there's anything else, it might be a 6, but I'd say it's probably a soft 7. But still super cool. I'd probably even get it graded only because of the hollow bleed looks really sick. But so yeah, so next was probably my favorite of the two, which is the Ho-Oh from Pop Series 5. This artwork is super clean in my opinion. Let's see. The hollow Thievel, that should be where the alt art is in Evolving Skies. Yes. I'd rather spend whatever amount on actual graded cards. Yeah, Raul, that's kind of the gamble, right? Like you're either gambling for the excitement of just like the experience of pulling packs versus just buying the singles for if you want to just be really direct at collecting or whatever. The Appleton and Evolving Skies, exactly. Oh yeah, the chase is always fun, and it's funny that you're saying that, Betty, because you are probably one of the luckiest people I've ever seen open up packs. I'm not even kidding. The people around me, I swear, are some of the luckiest people when it comes to opening product. I'm surprised you haven't gotten your 17th Gardevoir alt art yet. Alright, so the Ho-Oh from the same Pop Series 5. Little right heavy and bottom heavy. Right off the rip. Let's see. So yeah, so this right side, a little bit thicker than the left, as well as the bottom, a little bit thicker than the top. But no significant scratches on the hollow that I see. Nothing really standing out to me, so I'd probably say the front, just from centering alone, probably an 8. But let's flip it over. Truly this time. All right, Betty. April Fool's is already passed, all right? It's April 3rd. You can't be joking around anymore. I do have some whitening there where I'm kind of circling around. But the edges and corners of this Ho-Oh are definitely better than the Lugia, for sure. We do have some surface abrasions here, though. As well as... I don't know what this is. Next to the curve of the P, we have something there. It doesn't look like it's like a camera picture glitch. It almost kind of looks like it, but I don't think it is. Also have some weird... Those are so weird. This one right here, and then this one right here. I don't even know how to explain it. It almost makes like the card look glitched. But yeah, I'm just looking at the edges. The edges are fine. Maybe some whitening in the corners, but not as bad as the Lugia. And I think these two white dots that you kind of see between the left and the right of my mouse cursor probably can just be wiped off, it looks like, as well as these right here. So I'm not going to mark those too bad. But it's really just the surface wear near the Pokeball and probably along this left edge is really all I'm seeing. So, Lover98, thanks so much for the follow. I'm not going to say your first part. So there's the front of the Ho-Oh. Let me just restart this poll here for chat. So there's the front of the Ho-Oh, and then there is the back. So if you want to take a guess on what the grade is, the poll should be live. And let me catch up with chat. So there's the front, and there is the back. So let me catch up here. Let's see. You went through your old cards for the first time and found a first edition Lugia. Congratulations, Lee. That's sick. Yeah, the coupons on TikTok are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Lover really coming in with the low ball assessment. We had 3 and then 1.75. That's interesting. Hosh and Modelara. that was a tongue twister. Thanks so much for the follows. And Mario, thanks so much for sharing the live. Appreciate you. Ryan, do I do anyone's cards? Yes. Yep, this is completely free. As long as you just submit them in our Discord under the grade review channel. I do these once a week at minimum. And yeah, more instructions can be found in the grade review and how-to pinned video on the TikTok channel. It's about a 45-second video, so if you want to watch that real quick, it gives you all the instructions on how to submit. But I appreciate you checking it out. I promote products from TikTok, so I get $100 a month. That's cool. Yeah, I just started, I recently just got an affiliate link for the microscope that I use for grading cards, so that's pretty cool. Are only holographic cards worth grading? I think there's cases where that's not true. For example, I graded some Southern Islands non-holos back in the day. I also graded an Eon ticket promo. So there's definitely some cards that are not holographic that are worthy of grading. Yeah, exactly, Josh. So yeah, it's just really like what you're looking out for. Definitely don't fall bait to that like dumb trend that was going around where people were grading like the V-Star cards. That was, I don't know what that was about. I'm not even going to acknowledge that as being legit. Even though it appeared it was. I don't know who's buying PSA 10 V-Star cards. But anyway. So chat is thinking 7 to 6. Pretty good assessment, chat. You guys are learning, adapting, growing. Ho-Oh. So what do I think the Ho-Oh is going to get? So it's really the centering on the front that I've seen so far. So the right edge and the bottom edge compared to the top and left respectively. A little off center. There's really no holo scratching that I can tell on the main artwork. So that's good. So if we flip it over, it's really just some little small specks on the top, the left, and then some surface wear, surface abrasions near the Pokeball, and some unknown markings here and here by the P, as well as some surface wear, but not much on this left side. But again, I think most of these little white dots can probably be removed with a microfiber cloth. So I think overall, I'd probably give this Ho-Oh a 7, would be my grade. So my grade is a 7, and then chat grade is a 7 or 6. I don't know, Chris. I don't know why people grade the things that they do. Yes, Mario. People have graded the V-Star markers. Yes, I'm not kidding. Lee, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so that was Killjet's section. Again, they definitely have submitted more than just this, but We definitely have some more to kind of power through. So before I go to the next one, I want to make you guys aware that we are doing a 5,000 follower giveaway that actually ends in 5 days. So this is one of our mystery boxes that we've made as a small business to, again, try to solve the problem of mystery boxes kind of sucking, to put it bluntly. So these kind of come with some special packs that we've made that has some WotC hollows, includes some 3 packs from Pokemon from previous sets in Scarlet and Violet. It also comes with some stickers. It comes with some custom trading cards that we've made. So if you want more information on that, the video is in the, I'd say within like the last 6 videos. It's kind of tough to kind of link stuff streaming on TikTok Studio. But if you go through, it's one of the more recent videos that mentions a 5,000 follower giveaway. Just check that out. It's really simple. You just have to follow some stuff, but 5 days left. Just wanted to highlight that before we move on. So yeah, just check out the video. It should be, so if you're looking at the channel, the thumbnail should read Pokemon Mystery Box Giveaway. So it's right after the Rise and Rapid Fall of Pikachu and before the Grade Review Swampert EX. So super easy to join as long as you're in the US and Canada. So definitely appreciate you guys checking that out. So the next submission. So this one is going to be pretty quick. So my big thing with when people submit modern cards, which is totally okay, is that we have to just assume that you didn't immediately just drop this on the ground when you opened it. So when people submit more modern cards, we're really looking for a few things. So the big things that we're looking for is centering and edge or corner dings are really the big things that we're looking for. So we're going to be kind of rapid firing these ones real quick, but I'll just kind of highlight what we're looking for. So first, we're looking at the Raikou. The centering is looking pretty good, as well as the back centering is looking really good. There's just a lot of these little weird fuzzies. So if you get rid of these, that should be pretty quick. So I'd say centering looks pretty good. That might be actually a good 10 contender, as long as there's no scratches or micro abrasions that I'm seeing. Next, we got the Pikachu from the Nagaba Pokemon card collaboration back in 2021. I love this artwork. Also, the ones with the evolutions looked really sick. If you guys pick those up. Let's see. So the centering is good on the front. Little, I don't know if the centering on the bottom is a little top heavy, so you might get a 9 here. Yeah, the Raikou is so nice. But yeah, I'd probably say a 9 here just from the centering on the back. The Zyken level X from Promo Celebration. A little thick on the bottom than the top. Take a look. I have no idea. This might be in a sleeve. I think it is. Because you have some like weird dust stuff, but it has some shadows to it. This one's going to be tough for me to assess. If this is just dust, you're probably looking at a 9 on that one. And again, I don't really go this fast, just to let you guys know. Just for modern, it's just, I'm not going to spend as much time as I do for some of the stuff that actually does have some wear to it. But let's see. Yeah, so Greninjas are very hard to grade. It's more for centering. I tried grading 8 of these, I think, and they all came back as either 8s or 9s. And I think this one's kind of the same thing as well. The centering on the top is much smaller than the one on the bottom. You can kind of, the left and the right actually make it really stand out the most. As well as some whitened edges. So this one might even get an 8, would be my guess. Let's see. This one's centering is actually pretty decent. That's actually not too bad. Let's take a look in the back, though. Unfortunately, there is some whitening here in the bottom left. So I would say that this one probably would get a 8, because that one's pretty apparent. Maybe a 9, but I'd probably just kind of suggest an 8. This one's a little bit thicker on the left than it is on the right. Let's see. This might be a whitened corner. I'm not too sure. Right there, as well as right here. So this might get an 8. Bam! Look at me. This is how actual PSA graders. They just like boom, boom, boom. This is how that PSA 1 Charizard Delta species ended up getting a PSA 10. That like happened like 2 or 3 months ago. This top part might be a little bit thicker than the bottom, but I'm not too sure. That might be within the 10 range. But let's take a look in the back. This might probably be your best bet. This is probably as close of a 10 that you're probably going to get, to be honest. And I see some people talking in chat. I'll catch up here in a second. And the Starmie in a top loader and a sleeve. So this one's going to be pretty tough, but let's see. I'd say a little bit thicker on the bottom than the top for sure. Not by much though. I'd still say it's probably within the 9. And you can also see it on the bottom here too, that this bottom edge is much thicker than the top. So I'd say probably a 9 for this one. I would still send him in if you got him for dirt cheap, but because why not? But yeah, I'd probably say a 9 for this one. So that was like my rapid fire grade assessment. So let me follow up with chat. So user, thanks so much for the follow. Christopher, wait, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate you guys very much. I have such a small attention span. Well, that's a pretty good compliment, Chris. To be honest, I appreciate that, especially on TikTok. Just like how fast you can kind of scroll around. I definitely appreciate it. I feel like now that's like probably one of the better compliments you can get. I stayed around on a one video on a TikTok for longer than 5 minutes. All right. So next up, let's see. We actually have. Oh, I missed 3 from you, Rocks. One sec. Got some Zardy boys in here. Let me clear these real quick. Let's see. So we did that one. That was a 9. All right. So Pokemon Go. This set kind of flopped, no? The Pokemon Go. I thought this was going to be like so huge because like the fact that you could like buy certain booster boxes for like your different factions and stuff. But yeah, this set was kind of weird. Pull those worst print lines. Yeah, that's always tough, Semi, right? Print lines are just so bad because it's like you had no way of controlling the quality of those scratches. Because like what? Like the chase card of Go is the Mewtwo. You're all good, Jonathan. No worries. So these are anyone that wants to submit them in the Discord. Obviously following the TikTok, you'll get a notification when I go live. But anyone that joins the Discord is completely free. You just submit them in the grade review channel, and I just kind of give you my opinion on what I think you'd get, as well as chat. I've been grading cards since 2017. I actually keep a record of my accuracy that I can probably show off after. But yeah, the Ditto stickers were... you have that, Patrick. I'm glad you brought that up. The Ditto stickers were actually pretty cool. Did I ever get to your Dragonite alt art? I don't think so, Jerry. I'm not too sure. I'm actually at... there are some that are coming up soon. But... okay, let me just go through these real quick, and I'll catch up with chat. So the Radiant Zard... Centering's actually really good. This one's probably one of your first 10 contenders for sure. Hopefully you don't get Charizard taxed too hard. Unless these little white dots are actually on the card. If they're not, which I'm assuming they're not because it's in a sleeve, I'd probably say that's a pretty good 10 contender. The centering on both the front and the back looks pretty good. Let's see, the other Radiant Zard. Centering looks good on that one. Yeah, those two Zards are actually really good. Those are probably your best 10 contenders. Where this Pikachu V is a little off center on the right side, so this right border is a little bit thicker than the left. And then we flip it over. We do have maybe one little white nick here towards the bottom right-hand corner. So this one would probably get a 9, would be my guess. But okay, so let me, before I start, do I ever grade for any of the big 3? Oh yeah, we've definitely done. Mario, there was one that we did where some guy, I forget if you're in here, I apologize. The name started with a J. It's missing me right now. But anyway, he had a box of all of the base set cards that he pulled like as a kid, still in the base set booster box that he opened them in. They was just like chilling in his closet. So definitely have graded the big 3 or assessed the big 3. I've also personally graded the big 3 as well as assessed the big 3. Oh, okay, Mario. I know the big 3, right? The big 3 people are like, well, for me, I was like Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur. But yeah, for me personally, I really only grade with PSA. It's just who I started with first, and like as I've continued to learn like my accuracy, I just tend to stick with them just to keep getting better and improving with PSA. I think it's really helpful to kind of learn how well your assessments are when grading, and sticking with one just helps you just improve more and more. So let's see. But again, thank you. Wow, that one is rough. that's a spoiler and a half, but man, that looked like tissue paper. Okay. So that one was from Rocks. Thanks so much for submitting those. But let us get, so the next up is Pokélord himself. The Lord has arrived. So before I start, it seems like this is like a Lugia night. This is the second Lugia that we're looking at tonight, and then there's kind of like a pseudo third coming up. Tacos, can I talk more about the Charizard tax or the tax in general? I think there's kind of like a speculation, right, where Charizard is just so notorious for being graded that it kind of is held to like a, it's like without proof to a different standard than most cards, like graded more like harshly. There's kind of like that belief, which, you know, do I believe full-heartedly? Just from my personal experience when I've graded Charizards, like what I think they were going to get and what they come back as has been pretty on point. And for those of you who are first time, I think there's only been one card in particular that I still don't know to this day how it got the grade that it got, which is the Erica's Ivysaur. But yeah, I mean, there's a degree. People speculate all the time, right? For like pop control and whatever. But at the end of the day, I really only believe the data. And the only way that I can consistently have access to that data if it's just what I submit. And as of now, when I've submitted Charizards and I think, hey, this will get X grade, it normally comes back that grade. Or if it doesn't, it's 1 point higher or lower. So it's hard for me to really say that, yes, there is a degree of like a tax, but I just say it for a meme more than anything because of so many people saying it. Let's see. Just catching up with chat real quick. So I appreciate you guys' patience. And thank you so much, guys, for, you know, all the follows and shares and likes. It really does mean a lot. I don't want to keep kind of sounding like a broken record, but I'm a big advocate of showing my appreciation when I feel it's genuine, and it is genuine. So you guys are awesome. I definitely appreciate it. I'm glad my story was good, Mario. Yeah, exactly, Sam. I really like, for me, the only time I'd probably submit to Beckett is if I was kind of going for a black label. But in most cases, I'm not really hunting for black labels. That's kind of like an echelon of grading that I just don't subscribe to. Not because I don't think it's relevant or whatever. It's just something I'm just not completely interested in. Let's see. Sending in my Reggie. That's cool. Okay. What's my opinion on AGS grading? I, without putting everyone to sleep, I made a video not too long ago. Long ago meaning like, I don't know. Let's see. I'm just trying to go down. So if you kind of scroll down um, to some of my like earlier videos, there's a section where I have like AGS and the big three, and just have my opinion on AGS. So that's definitely down there. All right. The Lugia. What am I thinking? So I can't really assess centering because the angle of which the picture was taken, but it looks decent enough, to be honest. It doesn't look that bad. And from this angle, the only thing I see are just these like small 3 scratches, but it's not that bad. So probably on the front so far, probably looking at an 8. But on the back, woof. I don't know if you guys can see this, but that is a pretty significant crease from what I can tell. So there's that one right there. So right away, we're already in like the 4 territory. And I don't know what this is. I don't know if that's a piece of spice or what. I have no idea what that is. But we can definitely clean that off for sure with just a Q-tip and some distilled water. We also have some whitened edges here on the top. Have some on the left. Have some on the bottom left, the bottom right. Whew. Man, this card is pretty beat. I am not going to lie to you. That's so crazy that this front, immaculate. And then the back is like, holy. It doesn't even look like the same card. That's wild. All right, chat. Poll time. The poll is active, so it should be on the top left. So here is the Lugia. So that is the front of the Lugia, and that is the back. So again, just for transparency, if you're just kind of tuning in before you're about to vote in the poll, this back part, this crease, is really what's kind of setting it back for sure. So that crease right there in the back, these white dots, this foreign substance, I have no idea what that is, but yeah, very good binder card, Dream. You're reading my mind. You're definitely reading my mind. So let me catch up with chat here. Okay. Yeah, black labels. I honestly kind of equate black labels to people who hunt for swirl patterns. It's kind of like it's just kind of a different avenue of collecting. And, for some people, they really like collecting swirl patterns. Others don't care, really. And I'm kind of in the same boat. I really like swirl patterns. But I wouldn't really pay, like, a huge premium. Like, if it has it, great. But I'm not paying, like, an extra $200 for a swirl pattern. And I'm kind of in that same boat with black labels as well. But yeah, Mario, I'm right there with you. Yeah, black labels definitely. I mean, there's obviously a demand for them. It's just not for me. But that would be pretty cool. Semi. It'd be kind of cool, almost like have like a first edition stamp, but for like a holo pattern. Pristine CGC. I actually like their newer labels look much better than their older ones, in my opinion. I'm still on the fence. Like, I haven't really thought about it too much on their upgrade from like 9.5s to 10. I don't really know if that's affected the market at all. But I thought that was an interesting decision to make, for the lack of a better way of explaining it. But Donut. Donut Fire, thanks so much for the follow. User and Dreamsight, thanks so much for the follows. I appreciate that, guys. And Cam Moore, thanks so much for the follows. I was kind of scrolling up and missed you guys. My bad. My bad. All right, so majority vote is 5-4. All right, so Lugia, what am I thinking? The front is really good. That's what sucks. The front of this card is actually really clean, with the exception of these like really small scratches. So I'm like, oh, it's probably getting 8. As we flip it over, man, this crease is pretty significant. You gotta even see some of the white cardboard kind of popping from underneath, as well as whatever this is. No idea if it's a piece of spice or what, but we have some corner dings, have some edge wear. So really just boils down to whether I think it's a 4 or 3. And again, my rule of thumb is if I'm kind of on the fence between, like if I'm really split between a 4 or 3 or split between 2 grades, I normally stick with kind of like a grade below in this case. But at the same time, we've definitely seen some worse cards tonight that we've set at 3s. So this might be a 4. But this is probably one of the best examples of what a good binder card should look like. For sure. Exactly. All right, so next up is the Espeon. So one of the cooler foils that I've seen. So if you guys have seen this type of foiling, it's normally known as was it shattered glass foil or glass foil. People kind of call those. And let's see. Is that the right one? Yes, it is. Yeah, so shattered glass foil is normally what people call this. So let's take a look. So again, the angle suggests that it's pretty on center. Maybe, if anything, the left side is a little bit thicker than the right, but not by much. Cracked ice, that's what it was. That's where, honestly, Dream, that's what I was kind of coming from with the old dual terminal cards with the shatter foil. That's honestly what was at the tip of my tongue, was the dual terminal. But I couldn't remember what it was in Pokemon, so thanks for clarifying. Let's see. Yeah, centering's decent. The foil looks good. The surface looks good, but is it going to suffer the same fate as that Lugia? Not by much, but definitely the back is a little bit worse than the front. So we have some whitened corners there. We have some here on the left. Have some on the bottom left and the bottom right. We do have a scratch here as well on this left edge. So the surface is going to be impacted a little bit. So let's see. So yeah, this one's actually going to be a little bit tougher versus the Lugia. So let's take a quick vote. And while you guys are voting, I'm going to just take a quick call. So I'm going to... yeah, some whitening can, Mario, only if it's like kind of like the edges for whitening really can't be cleaned. But if there's like little speckles of like debris, it would be. But yeah, you guys vote. I'll be right back. I'm just going to take this phone call real quick and I'll be right back. So you guys vote. Looks like we only have 1 vote so far, and the poll should be in the top left. So while you guys vote, I'll be right back. All right, chat. Thanks so much for your patience. I am back. All right. So you guys voted. You guys are right down the middle. I come back and it's literally split. So 3 of you voted 7 or 6, and 3 of you voted 5 or 4. So there we go. I'm ending it. Someone voted. Okay, so we're thinking 7-6. All right. So 7-6. So what do I think this card would get graded? So this Espeon again. Centering, the only thing I see on the centering is the left is a little bit thicker than the right, but not by much. I do have some scratches right here in the hollow foil, but not significant. When we flip it over, however, this is where most of that was kind of showing, and I apologize if people are voting just on the front. But on this left edge, we do see some white specks here. On this left edge, we do have some scratches, have some whitening on the corners as well. Let me just kind of scroll down here. So we have some whitening here on that corner on both the left and the right. So I'd say probably for this Espeon, just more so from the back, you're probably looking at about a 6 would be my guess. So my grade is a 6 and chat grade is a 7 and 6. Yeah, the corners were pretty rough, Semi. I'm not going to lie to you. So this was kind of the other pseudo Lugia card. So while I get this card ready, I'm going to catch up with chat. Let's see. Oh yeah, these energies were awesome from the Heart Gold, Soul Silver era when they did. They printed all these in different spots. So it was what the fire energy had the Ho-Oh, the electric energy had the Ampharos, the steel had the Steelix, the energy was Espeon, dark was Umbreon, the fighting was Sudowoodo, and the grass was Celebi, I believe. I hope I got that right. That'd be cool if I did. But yeah, people do great energy cards. Especially these ones. Because these ones obviously have Pokemon and more illustrations in the background. So these are definitely the few energy cards that are actually worth getting graded for sure. But yeah, if you guys have never seen these are some of the coolest energy cards I think they've ever printed, in my opinion. So again, someone was asking, I forgot who asked, if it's worth grading non-holo cards. This would be an example of what you would grade for a non-holo card. So the only thing that I see right off the rip, and I don't know if it's just because of the picture, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this card is kind of bowed a little bit in a way that leads me to believe that you probably want to get it flattened before you submit it. Because if you submit it as such, they might penalize you for surface because of that kind of smaller bend in the card. So you want to probably weigh this in between some like heavy books or whatever. Is normally how I'd go about it. But other than that, the corners look good, edges look good. That's just another picture of a different angle. We do see some surface wear here in the bottom. Not too bad though. So I'd say just for excluding this like slight bend, you're kind of looking at probably an 8 or a 7 just from this section alone. Don't want to make you guys sick by doing that too fast. But let's flip it over. And yeah, some of the edges are pretty noticeable. We have this top left edge, this bottom edge, this bottom right edge, some surface wear, some dots on that right side. Trying to see if there's anything else. This flash is pretty good to see if there's anything. There's a little bit of a scratch on the top of that Pokeball, but let's take a vote. So the new poll is live. Let me catch up with chat. So that's the front of the energy, and that is the back of the energy. But yeah, people grade these types of energy cards for sure. They're very popular. Fishy Blocks, thanks so much for the follow. And JC Poke Cards Ripping, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I never understand grading non-hollow energies. I think I'd say these energies, I think are probably the exception for sure. Just because they all kind of have different illustrations in the background. But yeah, having the non-hollow, it's equally as good to grade. We clear these old scores here. And I appreciate you guys following and liking and sharing the live. Definitely means a lot. Appreciate you, homies. All right. So it is pretty unanimous right down the pipe of 7-6. So chat grade 7 or 6. So what do I think? So I am going to assess this first without assuming this is a bend, and then with assuming it's a bend. So without assuming it's a bend, I'm really drawn to these scuffs by the bottom of the energy symbol. So right here, I'm kind of circling with my mouse. And so if I flip it over, I'm also seeing a lot of whitening on the corners, on the top left and bottom right, as well as some whitened edges on the bottom and the right side. So I'm thinking, in addition to some scratches I see on the Pokeball, I'm probably leaning more towards a 6 than a 7. In addition, if this is a pretty significant bend that can be flattened but does not, or you choose not to, I'd probably say it'd probably go down to a 4 for surface. But if you put that in between some heavy books or two heavy objects or something along those lines, in most cases you can kind of flatten that out, no problem. So yeah, I'd probably say my grade would probably be a 6 for this. But yeah, probably I don't know what they're at for a PSA 6 of this card. Probably not too much, but you know. Thanks, Matrix. I appreciate that. Your mom, does a slight bend alter the grade? It does. It does. So some don't. Like if it's for example, if you opened a card out of a fresh pack and it starts to kind of bow because you kind of left it out, that doesn't affect it as much. But there are some bends that will impact the score. So if you just simply, again, put it in between two heavy objects, it should flatten out pretty good. So that's just always kind of like my rule of thumb. But I know the non-hollow Blastoise, right? Man, Team Rocket was such a cool set. Like, it was so cool to me when Team Rocket released, is like the concept of a Pokemon like turning bad. I thought was always cool. Do you keep it in a top loader between the books? No, I would just put it in a sleeve. Honestly, just put it in a sleeve because the top loader is gonna kind of take some of that pressure away from the card, because you want to put equal pressure on the card so it can actually flatten out. Because if you put it in a top loader, you're kind of putting weird pressure points along the edges, because the edges of a top loader are going to be thicker than what they were in the center. But yeah, as long as you have it in a sleeve, just to have the distribution of weight easier. But yeah, Chris, I appreciate you sticking around. Appreciate how the non-foil makes it easier to see the background. That is cool. Some of the background does kind of get lost in certain cards. Yeah, Jonathan, that's another way of doing it too. I'm actually going to be testing out a humidor for some cards to test trying to roll back some curled edges or like some whitened edges. So that's definitely a stay tuned. I'm going to try it with some of my cards first. Because when people ask me if there's ways to repair edges or dings, a humidor is probably the closest answer we have. But I'm going to try that, and I'll get back to you guys when I learn more and test it on my own cards before having you guys test it on yours. So, let's see. So Dark Blastoise. I'm already seeing I don't know if you guys can see it or not on stream, but I am seeing a pretty significant crease right here down the middle going horizontal. So right off the bat, unfortunately, we're already looking at a, I don't know, we're already looking at a PSA 4 at the most. But we are seeing some, it's a little blurry, but I am seeing some whitened edges, have some weird. So this is a good thing that I want to highlight really quick. If you guys have never cleaned your cards or have seen someone clean cards before, so there are instances, and I'm not talking about card wax, which I can have a full-on discussion about at a later time, but there are times where you have dirt marks and grime that's kind of sitting on top of the card, and it's very easy to get rid of. It's not difficult. All you have to do is have a Q-tip into some distilled water, and you want to make sure that the Q-tip is, I'd say, like 90 to 95% dry, with a little bit of humidity essentially in the Q-tip. And very carefully, when you go across these dirt marks, like right here, like where the tip of my mouse is, so right here to the left of the energy, to the right of the energy, as well as above the A and hydro cannon, you can get rid of those pretty easily, which will in turn improve the surface grade. So definitely a food for thought. If you ever see these on your own cards, just again, use a Q-tip and some distilled water and just be patient, and you should be able to get those off. But as always, I definitely recommend testing them on doing that technique on cards you don't care about, just in case if you don't get the sense of how much water you should put in it. That's just my 2 cents. Because these dirt marks here on this left edge near the energies, near the hydro cannon, as well as to the right of the R on this right edge, can get pretty clean, but there's a lot of surface, there's a lot of edge wear rather on this card, both the front and the back. And you can see that crease that I was talking about on the front popping off on that right side. So I'm thinking, for me, I'm not even going to have a chat grade because it's going to be 3 or lower for sure. So I'd probably say in this instance, this is really what I'm kind of looking for when I even start considering a 2 grade, are these like really frayed, softened edges. These are starting to get pretty bad, in my opinion. So you're probably even looking at, like, with the big crease down the middle, as well as these like really soft edges and edge wear all around the card, I'm probably gonna be thinking a 2 would be my grade on this Dark Blastoise for sure. But this one, holy, you guys need to buckle up, because this Feraligatr has gone through a washing machine, has gone through a tornado, a twister, literally any piece of water that has ever been on this planet, this card has been dipped in. Americans already thinking of Black Label. I'm right there with you. Yeah, this is definitely the Feraligatr you keep in your wallet and like ward off intruders or threats. Like, can you imagine like getting robbed and you pull this bad boy out? You're like, man, like I apologize. You can have your wallet. You're already down bad enough. I don't need to steal your stuff. It's like, if you have a Feraligatr looking like that in your pocket, you have no cash in your bank. I'm running. Yeah, they're gonna give you money. It's like, brother, I feel bad for you having that thing in your pocket. But let me catch up here real quick. Aang, if you're still around, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. The emotional support pocket for Alligator. Everyone's got to have one dream. Everyone's got to have a support Pokemon in their pocket. Thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is definitely like, emotional support wallet Pokemon. This is the behind the bike tire to make it sound like a motorcycle, a tissue. I don't know. Yeah, definitely a Black Label for sure. Your mom, can I send my cards to? Yeah, so just if you check out the pinned video with the thumbnail that says grade review and how to, just give that a watch. It's a 45-second video, and it should give you instructions on how to submit for free. All right, so the Feraligatr. Basically, we're at the point where Is this going to get a PSA 1, or will PSA not grade this card at all? That's really what we're looking at. So the big thing to keep in mind when thinking on whether or not a card can be graded as a PSA 1 or just not graded at all is as long as it still maintains the structural integrity of a card. So we look at the front. We are seeing the top of this edge completely gone. Like it's not even, that is like the big daddy of whitened edges. Like that is rough. To the point where there's little piece of the card missing. And if we flip it around, my God, this was someone practicing origami for the first time, for sure. This is definitely a piece of paper people were practicing origami back in the old days, because this is rough. Like those edges are like, we're talking about those white and soft edges on the previous card before. This is an extreme example. So again, are we thinking that the structural integrity has been lost? And in my honest opinion, just from the top and the bottom completely missing, I don't think this card would be able to get graded. I really don't think so. Like it's literally peeling off. The blue of this card is actually peeling off. I don't think they'd grade this. Yeah, this would PSA 20. Do I hear PSA 30? Do I hear PSA 30? Anyone PSA 30? PSA 40? Do I hear PSA 40? We're gonna get titanium label from Beckett. Not even black label. We're going like titanium. We're going whatever the rarest element we can possibly get. Unobtainium. We're getting unobtainium label. PSA 100 sold. Realistically, Driss, I don't think this card would get graded by anyone. To the moon, Chris. To the moon. If AMC can get there, this Feraligatr can get there. Crimson Titanium Angels Falling from the Sky label. Driss, I think honestly the best example that I've shown so far of a PSA 1 is probably the Swampert EX that I made a video about not too long ago. That's probably the best. It's like so far up the Discord grade review channel that I don't really, it's kind of hard for me to like scroll back to it, but that's probably the best one. That's probably the closest PSA 1 that I think we've had to date. That's the museum worthy. Yeah, that's going to go right next to the Civil War exhibit. What would the PSA of a card in perfect physical condition with sun damage be? That's a good question. Because you'd think it would impact the surface. I honestly don't have enough experience with grading sun damaged cards. I really don't know. You kind of stumped me there. Do you still get charged if they don't grade it? That's also a good question. I don't think so. Because I had a card that was from Force of Will that my friend wanted me to submit on his behalf that they couldn't find in the database. So they said that it was no grade. It was like no card, no grade. And I got a refund for that specific cost for that one card. So I don't think so, but don't quote me on it. I'm only basing that off of that one experience that I had. But yeah, I'd think like what Semi is saying, I think if anything, the surface would really be impacted for sure. John, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so this is probably one of the weirdest looking Gardevoir arts I have ever seen. I don't know what, I don't think it's like the face or what. I don't know why it's like kind of creeping me out, to be honest. Is anyone else getting creeped out by this Gardevoir? Like, it's like something about the face is like weird as hell. That's a pretty sussy face. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, I'm not getting creeped out by the Gardevoir. Let's keep looking. So again, what I was talking about before with these dirt marks. So if you ever see these again on your own cards, these like black dots, this is just like gunk and dirt and grime, probably from their hands or something. or just the sleeve. Sometimes sleeves get really gross and kind of get transferred to the card. But these are really easy to get off. Again, with just a Q-tip and some distilled water. You want to make sure that the Q-tip's probably like 95% dry. So very little humidity. Should it really even be in the... Not even damp. Like it should actually just be just humid. To where it's not soaking the card. But as long as you do that and you just be very careful doing clockwise and counterclockwise motions, most of that you can get rid of, to be honest. So having said that, I think you can get rid of most of those, so I'm not going to take away from that because it's pretty much all over the edge of this card. Like right here on the top, on the left, on the right, even on the artwork itself and that blue sky in the hand. But all in all, centering maybe on the bottom, a little bit thicker on the top than the top, but not by much. We do have some whitening on the bottom left here, but not bad. So if we flip it over, we do have some whitened edges. On all four corners, we have whitened edges. We have whitened edges on the left, on this side. Let's see. Got some micro abrasions, got some whitening on the bottom, on the top. The back of this is whitened in a lot of different spots. Not nearly as bad as the Feraligatr. The Feraligatr has definitely set the standard for whitened edges and corners. But yeah, it's really just like the dirt and grime on this bad boy. So let's take a vote on the poll. What do you guys think the Gardevoir is going to get? There is the front. There is the back. Again, the back's really kind of the worst of it than the front, just from the whitened corners and edges. So a poll should be active on your screen now. I think it's in the top left, is what I keep getting told. So it should look like a little clipboard or something like that. So click on that and send a vote. We already have some votes coming in. So while you guys are voting, drum roll please. What am I going to say? I'm going to catch up with chat. All right, let's see. John, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Puma, thanks so much for liking the live. Thanks so much. I got a beat up Gold Star Mudkip for $1. A Gold Star Mudkip for $1? That's pretty impressive. I think regardless if it was like beat to hell, like $1 for a... I can definitely think of worse things I've spent $1 on. Caden and Metroid, thanks so much for the follows. Appreciate you both. John's thinking the card is fake. Interesting. It might be the picture too. Because the ink pattern looks pretty consistent, in my opinion. But again, it's only one picture from the front and the back. All right, so let's see what chat thinks. It is pretty, 7 or 6. You guys like... We're almost unanimous on that one. Okay, so... I appreciate you, Chris. Thanks so much for sticking around so long. A fake car, right? We're looking at Hot Wheels over here. So the Gardevoir. So again, if we can get rid of a lot of these dirt marks with the Q-tip and water, I'm not going to ding any points off of that, me personally. It is a little bit thicker on the bottom than it is on the top. But the only whitening that I see is in this bottom left corner, as well as now I'm kind of seeing in the bottom right-hand corner. Not seeing a lot of scratches, which is good on the hollow especially. So let's flip it over. And we do have some whitened edges on all four corners, as well as on the left side and the right side. So really the big question is, do I think it's either going to get a 6 or a 5 at this point? If we can get rid of all this dirt and grime, which is also apparent on the back, like we're kind of seeing where my mouse is hovering. If we can get rid of that, it'd probably be a 6. If you cannot, it'd probably be a 5, in my opinion. So I think it's more of a homework assignment. I'd say probably a 5. Unless you can get that cleaned, it'd probably be a 6. That is my guess. Let's see. I found an old fake card when I was looking through bulk, but I don't know why I know it is weird. Like some of the things that people try to make fakes of is really funny to me. But all right, let's see. So thank you, Pokélord, for the submission. Next up, we got Fight Me IRL. Coming out of the gate pretty aggressive, but we do have some pretty cool cards, though. Some Sylveons, some Espeons. So not too bad. And anyone that is asking on how to submit your cards, Betty, one of our moderators, has posted a pinned message, so definitely check that out. And that is the easiest way that you can figure out how to get your cards submitted in the next grade review. I have a card that says Eevee, but picture is clearly a Flareon. Yeah, sometimes when people make fake cards, they're not really the brightest. Do I grade for PSA? No, so I just assess cards just from my experience with submitting cards to PSA. That's about it. I don't actually like work for them or anything like that, but I've been doing it for quite some time. And then just really my big thing is just educating the community on what things to look for when you're grading cards, as well as kind of giving some feedback on, like my accuracy and stuff like that. So that's really all it's coming from. Amanda, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. Do you grade Korean? Yeah, we actually, Betty actually had some really good Korean cards when we first started these grade reviews. So one of the ones that she had was one of the Moonbryons that we assessed. So we've definitely looked at Korean cards in the past for sure. Kenny, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And again, thanks so much for everyone that has been sticking around. Chris has been here for quite some time, so I appreciate you and appreciate everyone else that's been hanging around, chilling. So without further ado, let's keep on keeping on. So we got a Gardevoir and Sylveon GX tag team. This is one of the more expensive ones. Sorry, that was from the last one. My bad. So Gardevoir and Sylveon GX. So the nice thing about these ones is that this black line that's on the edge actually makes kind of gauging the centering a lot easier. And you can kind of tell, but on the same time, it also impacts the centering a little bit more as well. Let's see. Sorry, you guys are there's so many people submitting to the grade review that I got triggered for a spam alert for my Discord. Give me 1 second. Great, you guys crashed my Discord. Sweet. Alright, well, there's that. Alright, there we go. Okay. So the black edge. Yes, so it is a little off-center on this right side than it is on the left. Yes, you did, Betty. Thank you. But not by much. It is a little off-center, but not too crazy. So we're probably looking at a 9 on the surface so far, or on the centering. The surface actually looks pretty clean. I mean, the picture, I will say, is slightly blurry, but not bad enough. I'm just kind of looking real quick. So yeah, just based off of the picture alone, we're kind of looking at like a 9. So yeah, I think we're very lucky in the sense that I don't think we really need a chat grade on this one because it's probably going to be 8 or higher. This left edge, though, is definitely thicker than the right. So I think for this Gardevoir and Sylveon GX, really the big thing kind of holding you back is going to be the centering for sure, both on the front and the back. So I probably would say 8 would be my guess, for the Gardevoir and Sylveon. But again, one of these alt arts have been skyrocketing in price, as of late, so it's cool that you have them. So next up is the Espeon VMAX, one of the chases from Fusion Strike. And so while I catch up with chat, let's see. How do I join the Discord? That's like one thing I wish. I'll have to find out. TikTok Studio doesn't really have a lot of bot or chat commands. And I apologize for having to answer this question so many times for those of you who are kind of sticking around for the long term. And Betty's been doing an incredible job keeping up with chat, so definitely appreciate Betty helping out. So yeah, definitely check out the pinned comments that Betty is posting. There is a video that's pinned on our profile that should give you all the instructions you need on how to properly submit. So definitely check that out. All right. So the Espeon VMAX. So again, with Modern, we're kind of going a little bit faster with Modern, only because the big things that we're looking for are just whitened edges and corners, as well as centering, because we're assuming that when the person received this card, they didn't drop it down a flight of stairs. But the first thing I see is on the left edge. The left edge is a little bit thicker than the right. So you're already kind of looking at a 9 there. So let's flip it over. The centering on the back is actually really nice. Yeah, I'd probably say 9. Probably say 9 for the Espeon. There's a bot command you can do with the TikTok. Yeah, Chris, I'll definitely take a look. Because I think I kind of poked around a little bit before I started. But if I'm having trouble, I'll definitely reach out for sure. Appreciate you. Okay, let's see. So we already did some of Kiljet's. Let me try to hit some further down, because we hit some Kiljet's already. This one's from RX. A first edition Shadowless Chansey, which is nuts. So I'll hit this one real quick. And again, really nice. If again, this is another good example of how to take pictures of these cards as well. Having the black background and having the picture in this zoom quality makes it so much easier to grade. So yeah, let's take a look. Poke, thanks so much for the donuts. So you're spying on me through the window and you're now giving me donuts. I appreciate you. All right. Let's see. The donuts are in. Okay, so first off, so we got to be really okay. Gotta like zoom in. Jupy, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so because this one I feel like I really gotta kind of dial in. So I'm just gonna grab some water real quick, because I've been yapping for like an hour and a half. Let me go grab some water. I'll be right back. But this be right back screen is not going to be 5 minutes. It's literally only going to be 1. So I'm going to grab some water real quick. Be right back. Hashtag hydrate. If you're going to hydrate, hydrate now. Hydrate now. Now's your time to hydrate. I'm back. Oh man, literally what that felt like was when you have something in the microwave and you try to beat it. You try to open the microwave before the timer goes off. That's literally the only reason why I shouted it. Look at that. The streamer actually coming back when the timer goes off. Unheard of. Thank you, Mom. I am safe. All right. So, again, we're gonna try to take this one a little bit more serious because this one is pretty up there. So, first edition Shadowless Chansey from base set. So, centering on screen looks pretty good. The only, like, if I had to really critique, actually, I'm gonna put a ruler up to the screen. Where is my ruler? So, for those of you who don't know or haven't been here before, when I've done this, I actually have a legitimate ruler that I put onto my screen to measure the centering of some cards. So right now, the left edge is a 1/4 inch. The right edge is a 1/4 inch. The top is a 1/4 inch. And the bottom is over a 1/4 inch. But again, there's literally a ruler on a monitor. So take it with a grain of salt. But for now, with what I am seeing, the bottom is thicker than the top using the ruler method. So with that, the centering is a 9 so far on the front. So the other thing to look for is there any edge wear issues? So silvering or chips or dings, as well as on the corners. I don't see any. The only thing that I see is this really, you can probably, I don't even know if you guys can see it on stream. So without kind of circling it. So towards the tip of the cursor, there is a like dot, like a brown dot. So you might be able to get rid of that with a Q-tip and some distilled water. But if you are going to do so, I would be very careful. Test it on other cards and do not have this card be your first test. As well as here. So this is another one. This is another dirt spot that you can easily get rid of with a Q-tip and water, most likely, by the hand here. So this dirt spot and this one right here are probably two that I would feel comfortable cleaning. But that's it. So in terms of scratches, so we have two angles that you can kind of see. So this angle, so again, with Chansey is very hard to grade. And so the reason being, Snorlax is also a very hard card to grade because normal types have a more white background, which makes scratches stand out way more than with other cards. So Chansey is going to be one of them. So from this angle, we have two angles. So this angle, we have this scratch right here by the tip of my mouse. We also have a few here. They don't stand out as much, but on this left side, there is as well. So if we look at the other angle, some of those scratches become more apparent, right? So this near the foot, I'm kind of highlighting it with the tip of the mouse. We also have some to the right, so underneath the base of the tail, we have some small scratches here and here. We also have some kind of going diagonally at a 45-degree angle from like kind of the tip of the tail going out, as well as some smaller, I don't think they're abrasions per se. I just think that they're like some weird fuzzies or something you can probably just get rid of with just like why am I losing the word? A microfiber cloth. If you very gently get rid of those, I could imagine you can get rid of those. But so far, the front of this card is really good, all things considered, for it being so old. Now, the back is also a really good condition. So again, kudos to you for sure. So So the top is a little blurry, but there's nothing standing out because again the background is all black. So I'm not really seeing any whitening to be concerned about. Those edges are actually really clean too. The left edge, not too bad. I think that's just from the angle on which the card is being taken, because I have seen this on some cards to where like the cardstock in between the top and the bottom layer kind of like stick out almost to a degree, which I think is happening here because it's not like actually going into the border. It's kind of sticking out from the side. So I think that's what's happening here. So the only scratch that I see is on this bottom part. So without kind of making my mouse go crazy, you can kind of see it towards like the tip of my mouse that there's a scratch, as well as some right here to the left and to the right of my mouse, like like right here to the tip and right here. But other than that, this is probably the only thing I see now that I'm kind of floating around that might be able to get rid of just by wiping it off. I'm not too sure. So yeah, for this one, since this is a pretty important card, I'm actually going to adjust the... I'm going to adjust... Oh, I appreciate the sub. Thanks so much. Okay, so we're back. All right, so first, I apologize for the stream crashing. I don't know why it freaked out when when I made new polls. So, okay. So, here is the Chansey. So I'm going to hopefully launch the poll, and hopefully it doesn't crash my stream again. So this is the front of the Chansey. That's the side. So I'll wait for you to look at the front. For those of you who are new, we're gonna ask chat to help grade this card. So that's the front of the Chansey. That's the side. So again, really the only things that we see for scratches is by the foot, both on the left and the right, as well as near the tail. And then on the back. So that's what that card looks like on the front and the back. So, drum roll, please. The poll is active. Do you guys still hear me? I hope you do. Perfect. Look at that. We figured it out. So there should be a poll now that's active in the top left-hand corner of your screen to weigh in on what we think this Chansey would get. Awesome. We're figuring it out, chat. Look at us. Learning together as a unit. But yeah, I think this is the first. I honestly think that this is the first edition Shadowless card that we've gotten so far. Anyone know where it'd be on PC? I honestly don't, Dream. Because I know PC has different. Because he's looking for, or they're looking for the like when the poll pops up. I don't know how it pops up when you're watching a live stream on PC versus watching a live stream on your mobile device. That's what they're looking for. But yeah, this one's pretty tough. Yeah, because I'm always interested in like how people discover lives, to be honest, because I don't know why. I don't like, for me, I really haven't had a lot of, because I used to have a ton of videos or a bunch of lives recommended to me on my For You page, but for whatever reason recently I don't get them at all. The only ones that I get are the people who pay for the exposure. So it's always interesting to me how people kind of come through, because I don't know if I just like, because I actually probably know, because there's a lot of like rip and shippers that I just didn't really agree with, that I would just unfollow or say that it's like not like it's not for me kind of thing. So I think the algorithm just said, hey, you just like don't like lives. That's okay. It's like, okay. I've seen a handful of times on For You pages for mobile, stuck around when cleaning. Paint rollers. Yeah, that happens, Chris. I think too, what happened is when I had to take a pause, people left too. But it happens. Remember, I gotta be the family IT person. I gotta help my aunt figure out how to log into Facebook. So Catherine, let me let me review this real quick and I'll answer that question. 'Cause it's not like I don't like them, but I want to give you a good response. Okay, so chat grade is thinking 8. So what do I think this first edition Shadowless Chansey from base set will get? So again, the centering is actually really clean. In terms of surface wear, we do have some, looks like dirt spots that we can probably get cleaned with a Q-tip and some distilled water. Both here by the arm and here in the top right. We do have some scratches on the foil, but not too bad. Have some by the left foot here in the bottom left as well. If we take another look, we have some scratches again by the left foot, more predominant here, as well as the right foot, as well as near the tail. So some scratches on the foil. If we flip it around, the edges and corners are actually in really good condition. There is really not a lot of whitening at all present on this card. The only whitening that I see are these 2 little white specks that I believe, to give the benefit of the doubt, I think can be probably removed with just a microfiber cloth. But there is a slight scratch on the bottom of this card. So I think with everything that I'm seeing right now, with how small the scratches are, and I've definitely seen some cards with worse scratches get a PSA 7, I would probably think that this card would be a good candidate to be like an 8 or a 7, but probably a soft 8, hard 7. So in this case, I'd probably say an 8 as well. So my grade would be an 8. Chat grade will also be an 8, but congratulations on this, Chansey. That thing is insanely good condition. Okay. So Catherine, let me go back and read some of these comments real quick. So it's not that I don't like rip and shippers. I think rip and shippers have a place in the community. There's obviously a demand for them. Me personally, I don't like the ones that say, hey, you pulled X chase card. If like as a PSA 10, it's a $300, $400, $500 card. With that type of mentality, you're basically telling your audience that if card comes from pack, then it will be a 10 all the time. And I don't like that because it's very misleading to educate people like that. So that's kind of my 2 cents. And I just think that there's a lot of rip and shippers out there that I don't need to be another one of them. The market is already saturated to begin with. And I don't see a lot of people providing this style of, entertaining, educational content that I just honestly enjoy. I really enjoy looking at people's cards and collections and stuff that they care about, and kind of nerding out together, and just kind of giving my observations on card condition. If submitting a card to PSA is going to cost you, sometimes 15, 20, $30. So it's kind of cool if you just want to know without having to pay $30. This is a really good solution for you. So that's what's kind of nice about it. Exactly, Dreams. There is definitely a lot of things to look out for, especially when looking at trend data, because that's like when I calculate my prices for my cards, I don't just look at market price data, or I don't look at just price charting's averages. Even though it takes me a little bit longer, I like to average, the last 10 sales of a card to really see if a card's being manipulated by the market or not. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Betty, for sure. But anyway, so let's see. So I'm just trying to see where I'm at here in the queue. So we have definitely a bunch from Killjet for sure. We have some from Twin. So I'll give you guys a choice. Let me actually, I'm honestly hesitant to make another poll because that's what crashed my stream before. So I'll give you guys an option. So we can either do one more review of some reverse hollow cards from Killjet from the EX like Dragon Frontiers, or I can give you my assessment on the current trend of Evolving Skies, on why it's exploded in price and what my thoughts are on it. So I'll kind of give you guys a choice. Do you want to see another grade review session, or do you want to hear my opinion on the current increase of Evolving Skies and what I think you guys should do? So I'll, again, I'm not going to make a new poll because I'm afraid it's going to crash my stream, but there's one rip and shipper who got a card they wanted in a way better condition they had. Instead, say it's sent to the guy. Yeah, exactly. Evolving Skies. Okay, cool. So while I get that prepared, I'll answer your question, Project. Just give me 1 second. I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm just going to take me some time to get this set up. I'm still here. So let me get that squared away here. Yeah, because I've been wanting to talk about this for a little bit now, the Evolving Skies, because I just think it's crazy, like how much these prices have been going up and down, and it's insane. And especially, I'm kind of getting ahead already. You can kind of tell I'm kind of like, I'm not really like heated, but it's definitely something to watch out for sure. And I just want to make sure that you guys are educated in what I'm seeing, just so that you don't get caught off guard with what the market is showing. So let's see. That should be good. Let's see. So I might have to adjust this a little bit. Project, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Is it worth grading crimp error cards? Crimp errors, I don't really know, to be honest. It's kind of hard for me to say. Like, the question at the end of the day is, like, are people buying those types of errors? And I just think that you should probably see if other sellers are selling crimp errors. So that'd probably be my assessment. But okay, so all right, class, gather round. We are going to talk about the crazy explosion of price of Evolving Skies as of late, because it is pretty nuts. And remember, no chewing gum in my class. You will be asked to spit it out. Okay. So Evolving Skies booster box. So for those of you who are unaware, as of recent, a sealed box of Evolving Skies is currently going for $684 on TCG Player. So we can kind of see some of the market trend, right? So as of 3 months, it has been from roughly $432 to now $670, $680. So why on earth is this going up? So as I'm kind of looking through some of the unopened stuff, and this is, I think, a pretty big problem that TCG Player really needs to figure out sooner rather than later, is this whole idea of being able to essentially make makeshift booster boxes. So like this one, for example. I'm not going to try calling anyone out by any means, because there's more than one person that does this. But people are essentially buying singles, like clearing out Walmarts, clearing out Costco's, and making quote-unquote makeshift booster boxes. So this 36 loose booster pack of Evolving Skies, are they unopened? Yes. Is it $372 for whatever reason? Yeah. But it's like, it's not a sealed box. So why are they able to kind of get away with it, right? So as you kind of go through a lot of this, right, some more packs that are just hey, there's a quote unquote booster box. It's like, no, you don't know if they're weighed. You don't know if they've been manipulated with. You don't know if they've been tampered with, whatever. Right? So it takes a little bit to even get to a box that actually is truly unopened. And this one is the first one. So 689.98 is the first truly sealed booster box that is current. Yeah, exactly. Just buying all the packs for whatever reason, saying that it's a booster box. So to ask chat, why is Evolving Skies an expensive set? I'm gonna call out to the class here. Why do we even care about Evolving Skies to begin with? Like, why is this set $680? Why is a case quote unquote $4,000? Exactly, Catherine. The Moonbryon. The Moonbryon and the Rayquaza VMAX. Those are the biggest reasons why this set is so expensive. So, just to kind of prove a point, just to make the explanation a little bit easier, people are buying this set because they want to pull the Moonbryon. That's going to be the majority of the case, right? So let's kind of dissect that a little bit. So let's see how much an Umbreon VMAX Alt Art near mint is going to be, right? So if I look at near mint holo prices, again, these are the last sold. So we have one that's like, they're basically floating around 700, right? So if you were to buy a near mint copy of an Umbreon VMAX for $700, you're already, $20 roughly over what it would cost to buy a booster box, right? So if someone were to say, hey, what are the odds of pulling a Umbreon from a booster box? And so from what I'm about to show you, again, this is basically like Reddit math, but I think it makes a good explanation. So this was a study that someone did a little while ago on the pull rates of Evolving Skies. So kind of take it with a grain of salt. Some of these are just going to be, based off of this person's experience, but they opened up allegedly more than 10,000 packs. So in this example, the pull rates for an Alt VMAX was 1 out of 292 packs. That's a lot of packs for just to get one Alt Art VMAX. So that could have been the Glaceon, that could have been the Leafeon, that could have been the Rayquaza, and that could have been the Moonbryon. So okay, let's break that down even more. What were the odds of pulling the Alt Art Umbreon? The odds of, in this sample size, the odds of pulling the Alt Art Umbreon was 1 out of 1,666 packs. That is a crazy amount of packs to try to pull the near mint Umbreon. So put that in perspective, that's roughly 46 booster boxes that it would take to pull the Umbreon. So if we do just, again, really quick math, right? So it was roughly 680. So that's $680 per box times 46. You're looking at around $31,280 if you were to try to buy boxes to pull the Moonbryon. Again, this is all just basic statistics of a sample size of this one person that opened up 10,000 Evolving Skies packs, allegedly. But it gives you enough of an idea to decide if you're in the frame of mind, like, do you prefer to invest in a set based off of the volume of cards and the volume of good enough cards to get, or is it because of one or two chases? And Dream was also mentioning it. It really boils down to, are you buying a booster box because of its rarity, or are you buying it because of like the investment potential? Like, why are you buying it in the first place? So in most cases, people are buying this set, which is a total anomaly when looking at Modern. People are trying to buy this set with trying to pull the Umbreon. That is, in a majority of the cases, people know this set for the Moonbryon. That's it. So from an investment point of view, again, this isn't really investment advice, but just is basically just kind of talking out loud the numbers. If you want to get the Umbreon for yourself, you have, just by the data alone, it is better to buy it outright for the $700 currently on average than it is to try to buy roughly 46 or 46 booster boxes to pull it yourself, which is roughly $31,000. So that's kind of the 2 cents. So the other part too, that's, the other thing that kind of applies to a lot of like buying sealed versus buying singles, it really just kind of, to expand on that, buying a booster box versus buying singles, it just boils down to how easy it is to offload a booster box versus offloading a single card. I would say in most cases, it's much easier to offload a card versus a box. But that's kind of my general opinion on it. In terms of like keeping sealed, right? For Evolving Skies specifically, you have the extra component of people want to experience or have the thrill of the chase or thrill of the gamble, because they know that they really want that Moonbreon or the Rayquaza. So I guess at the end of the day, does Evolving Skies really warrant the sudden spike in cost from being back in January roughly $432 to now almost $680? Based on my math and based on how I operate my business, no. I wouldn't buy a box at $680 knowing that the main chase is $700. But that's kind of where I'm at, especially with TCG Player allowing people to make essentially makeshift booster boxes like this. That also has something to do with how the prices are being manipulated to a degree. I don't know why TCG Player allows that, but it is what it is. It's kind of odd to me. But so now, having said that, I'm going to just check on chat and kind of weigh in on what you guys have been saying too. But like what Dream was saying originally, at the end of the day, people just like, you can't really put like a static answer on people who just simply want the thrill of opening a pack at the end of the day. It just really depends on how much they're willing to spend on that thrill to open up a pack. Like if they're willing to pay $600 to $700 to have the thrill of potentially opening a Moonbreon versus just buying it outright, that to a degree there is that satisfaction, right? Like, hey, I bought the Moonbreon, like I pulled the Moonbreon from this box and I got all this bulk along with it. If you like that, good for you. Cool. But Project, I wish Pokemon is a little more like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you can open product for profit consistently. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's up for debate for that too, right? Depending on what you open, because a lot of the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh definitely get reprinted. It's really that they just have to keep the rarity and the quality control of the rarities consistent. I made a video a while ago on when I pulled the Ghost Rare Blue Eyes from Haunted Mine, it was like the second Ghost from the Past, that had a ton of printing defects all over it. And for a chase, that was pretty much unacceptable in my book, but I made a pretty long video about it. Ben, I got mine from Evolving Skies from the Elite Box. That's incredible. How do you buy booster boxes on release even? So you basically have to buy, so like LGSs or local game stores have distributors that they can pre-order. You can also pre-order from certain sellers online. There's some pretty big ones that I usually use. So there's Dave and Adams, Card World or Card Shop. There's Blowout Cards. There's Collector's Cash. Those are like the big three, or some of the bigger ones that I can think of on the top of my head. There's definitely some out there, but you can definitely pre-order for sure. Like you won't be able to get as low as like an LGS, but those stores like that are so large that their pre-orders are pretty consistent. You just have to know when a set is going to release. Um, Dan, thanks so much for the follow. Catherine, you should also take into account that even if they pull the Umbreon, it might not even be a 10. That's correct. Yeah, because most people, the reason why the Umbreon is so high is people are buying near mint copies of the Umbreon just to try to get it graded as a 10. Where in reality, even though the Umbreon has a very high pop report for how many get 10s, I think the last time I checked, which was maybe about almost a year ago at this point, the data suggested that you have about a 75 to 80% chance of an Umbreon VMAX getting a PSA 10 just because the print quality is so high. But yeah, that's a great point. If it doesn't get a 10, you basically lose all your value immediately. Twin Lakes. Can you show Evolving Skies ETB? Sure. Let's take a look. That's a Pokemon Center. Here we go. $172, $196. This actually isn't going up by much. I mean, granted, it has less pack or has less packs than a booster box and doesn't have the guaranteed odds that a booster box has. So the price increase isn't that bad, but let's see. I'm just kind of catching up on your guys' comments. You guys are making some good points. Competitive Yu-Gi-Oh controls the market. Yeah, Project. I used to play competitive back in 2011 to 2013 when spellbooks and dragon rulers were really popular. I played in a few YCSs in college, so I definitely get it. Having competitive dictate the price of cards is crazy, but like if you're really not in like the competitive scene, it's kind of hard to measure the market. So it makes it, for me personally, since I'm out of it because I was tired of spending $1,000 to $15,000 or $1,500 a deck for 3 months only for it to get banned in 2 weeks, was not fun for me. Yeah, if you're still here, definitely check out our grade review. We assess people's cards for free in our Discord, so definitely check that out for sure if you're still around. Let's see. Open 2. Yeah, Evo, like it's crazy. Like in some of these you'll even see in like some Walmarts or Targets randomly pop up. But yeah, they're floating up there. It's pretty crazy. Chris, what card did we leave off? It was just the Chansey, I believe. Because I'm already hitting like the 3-hour mark for me. Evil Swarms were crazy. Evil Swarms were because I played Spellbooks. That was my like competitive deck of choice. And Ophion was not a fun card to go against. Yeah, exactly, Betty. It's like if Evolution, then buy. It's as simple as that's kind of where my brain went to. Yeah, Corso. There is a little bit of a queue. I will be transparent. It's not like incredibly bad. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to review it for free, for sure. Yeah, Chris, I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, again, I try to make this consistently on Wednesdays, but there are times. That's why I think, I mean, not to kind of like self promote, but in a way I am. If you follow the TikTok, sometimes like if I have some time throughout the week that I have to stream, I'll definitely do it. But Wednesdays is nice to kind of have at least one consistent stream that's much longer than the rest. But to put it in perspective, I've streamed Monday and Tuesday of me cleaning cards physically from a collection that I bought because I am actually going to a collector's show in May. I have 2 of them actually, May 4th and May 5th, as well as May 18th and May 19th, that I'm preparing to attend. So I have to clean some cards that I bought from a collection. I have to send some cards out to get graded. So I stream kind of anytime I have free time, because this is, I have a full-time job. I try to do so. What do I think the next Evo Skies is? Like, you talking about, like, what set I think is going to be as popular as the Evolving Skies? Is that what you mean? Catherine, where at? So I'm in New York. So it's gonna be in the like central New York. Decided to make the trip up for it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think any reprints are coming up. So what the next set that I think, that's really tough to say, honestly. For modern stuff, like Evolving Skies, like I cannot emphasize enough. Evolving Skies is such an anomaly on like a modern set exploding in popularity and exploding in price. I think like, when you're looking at a set, you really want to see like what cards people actually care about in those sets. And the next one that comes to mind for me is Fusion Strike. And I think Fusion Strike's even kind of going up in price too, and we can actually take a look. Because you have the Gengar VMAX, you have the Espeon VMAX, you have the Mew. Let's take a look. Yeah, because you're already seeing like 142 to 229. Because I think Gengar is again is one of the more popular Pokemon that isn't an evolution. And Betty is probably going to start typing furiously because her favorite Pokemon is Gengar. If she's still in here. But yeah, you have, the Espeon VMAX that looks amazing. But I'd probably say another one that I could think of, like, and even like the alt arts that aren't even like crazy expensive, like the Mew V, the Celebi V, look really nice. I think those are really the only, but I'd say probably that set is going to be going up a little bit. Another one that I think too, because it's kind of like the tail end of the Sword and Shield era, is Crown Zenith. I think this set is going to be starting to go up relatively soon, in my opinion. Let me see if I can just find like a... Let me see if I can get a... TCG Player is always so weird to where like you can't just like find the set. Here we go. Yeah, because this one's got like the Giratina, the Arceus, the Mew V-Star, has just like really crazy looking cards. Like again, it has Evolutions in it, a really cool Leafeon, Glaceon, it has the legendary dogs. Like this set has just so much going for it. Has Cynthia, everyone loves Cynthia. The set just has so much, like so many boxes that are getting ticked. And especially since it has that little bit of an edge of being technically the last set to be released in the Sword and Shield era. So definitely something to keep in mind. All right, so you guys are... Let me catch up here. You guys are typing like crazy. Yeah, Fusion Strike's definitely a good box to get. As well. So I think like the other ones in the Sword and Shield era, I think Crown Zenith and Fusion Strike are probably the better ones to start looking at. That are still, I think, are they going up a little bit? Yes. Are they still, in line with being able to be obtainable? I think so. And it also has more cards that kind of keep the set alive. Like, because people would argue that Silver Tempest or Astral Radiance would be good for like the Lugia and the Giratina respectively. But other than that, like having just one chase card for a set kind of gives it kind of like the Charizard curse, where like sets like Obsidian Flame, for example, are not going to be as good in the long run because the only card that's holding it up is Charizard. And I think to a degree, people are kind of getting tired of sets just being held up by Charizard, whereas sets like Crown Zenith or even Brilliant Stars is another good one that I didn't think of until now. The not as good, I don't think, as Crown Zenith or Fusion Strike. But you need a set that has some substance to it. Because if you don't want people to say, like, if I don't get the one chase card, then my pulls are trash. I think Crown Zenith, Brilliant Stars, and Fusion Strike. If I had to rank them, I'd probably say Fusion Strike, Crown Zenith, and Brilliant Stars are probably my top three in Sword and Shield that are not Evolving Skies. Would probably be my big three. Chilling Reign's also going up too, yeah. But I just think like for popularity, like long-term popularity, I think those three are probably the most popular, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion. This isn't financial advice. Like whatever. I have to give that I have to give that caveat every time. Must. Did I ever do the Mewtwo star? No. I got to Chansey, and then my stream crashed because I decided to edit a poll and I had to start again. And then I asked the chat if they wanted my opinion on Evolving Skies or they wanted another grade review, and the chat spoke and they wanted Evolving Skies. So I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I'm kind of glad I did before the market changed. I had to redo all my notes. Yeah, Crown Zenith was just such a good set. I'm just kind of catching up here. Ben, could you type in Charizard? What set, Ben? Yeah, I'm right there with you, Catherine. Charizard is just like, it's just so overdone that I'm just so tired of it, to be honest. Like, because it was cool. Like I'd say every now and again having a Charizard be the chase was cool, but not. It's like literally like one every 2 or 3 sets. It's like you gotta give it some time to breathe. It's crazy. But yeah, this set's gonna be pretty big, I think. This one and Fusion Strike. And the Dialga, yep. Let's see. Yeah, what Charizard from what set, Ben? I just don't know what set or what Zard from what set you're talking about. Because there are definitely a lot of Zards out there. Yeah, at the end of the day, Rush, that's really what it boils down to, right? It's just supply and demand. The supply meaning reprints and whatnot. But a lot of these sets, you got to remember, these were sets during COVID when manufacturing was severely impacted. That's another. That is some of the factors you also have to consider. That's unique to this specific time. Real, thanks so much for following the live. I appreciate that. But yeah, a lot of these sets just simply weren't reprinted because of COVID. And they're just so kind of far behind, and they just keep printing sets like every 3 months. That's just things you got to consider too. Yeah, Sober, that was a good point. I made a video about that a while ago where the guy from, I think it was like a Texas LGS, someone stole a bunch of Espeon VMAXs and Gengar VMAXs, right? I have not reviewed it. If you're looking at the Discord, because again, it's only just me doing it. I got down to the Chansey. So yours is definitely in the queue for sure. Again, I'm definitely gonna do my best to hit them as fast as I can, but there are a ton. I'm looking at the grade review right now, and holy, there are so many cards in here now. Oh my god! First I want to say I definitely appreciate that you guys are showing interest in this, but my god, there are so many cards in there. That is nuts. But yeah, I'll definitely try to do my best. I'm even gonna try to, again, like it's the tough thing, right? Because I do this on the side and it's not my full-time job. Like in a perfect world, I would like to focus more time to do this and set aside some more time to stream and assess. But Wednesdays are like the one day that I've kind of carved out that's acceptable for everyone around me to stream for 3 hours. Or weekends. I'm going to try to stream on I think honestly, now that I say that, I might stream both Saturday and Sunday just to catch up because I'm not really going anywhere. So honestly, that's probably your answer. It's probably Saturday or Sunday is when I'll review it. But no, I definitely appreciate you guys showing so much interest. Definitely means a lot. Yeah, it's crazy how much of an impact COVID really had on manufacturing. Because when Pokemon bought was it Millennium Printing in North America, that was a huge plus to kind of mitigate or to address some of the lessons learned during COVID, because a lot of the manufacturing was overseas, but now that they have a printing company in North America, that definitely helps. Like, a huge highlight of that is everyone's obsession with trying to buy out those Charizard UPCs, and look where those are at. People thought that was going to go to the moon, and then Pokemon said, oh, there's a weird demand, let's print it to the ground. And sure enough, those sets tanked. Charizard Star Delta species. Are you talking about the Charizard Gold Star? Because if you have the Charizard Gold Star, that would be nuts. If you have this card, there's actually someone that posted this card in the grade review, and I actually had to make a new notification. You'll probably see it if you're in the grade review in the pinned messages. I have a little like investigator that says verifying entry, because I was like, I don't believe you actually possess this card. And in fact, they never responded back to me, so it was a fake submission, which was kind of weird. But Ben, honestly, I would not look at TCG Player for this card, because this is so rare and so expensive that there's not a lot of sales data. You'd probably want to look more on eBay. And I haven't set up eBay on the stream to like not like dox myself. So I'll have to check with you on that. It was in the mall for $500. This card was in the mall for $500. If this card was in your mall for $500, you need to go in there like ASAP. Like, I mean, if we're just going on TCG Player data alone, like you're looking at damaged is around that cost. Like anything above damage, like heavy play, sold back in December, end of December of last year, you're looking at $700 if it's heavy played. If it's damaged, it's around $5. That makes sense. Yeah, Ben, you should like be sprinting. Like the moment you wake up tomorrow, I'm not kidding. The moment you wake up tomorrow, if you have work, call off. Don't tell anyone where you're going. If you have $500 to go buy that card, do so. If it's not gone already, like what Mom's saying. Don't tell anyone where you live. I feel like I'm the guy that just watched you open the golden ticket for Willy Wonka. I'm just telling you, go back to your parents. Don't tell anyone you open this. Go get it. But yes, I would definitely check to verify that it's not fake too, because there are some LGSs that don't know how to tell if a card's fake. So that's probably another thing to consider, because $500 for that card is pretty nuts. And I'm trying to... I don't know why my Zoom's not working. 1 second. Let's refresh the page. Not that. It's the Charizard Gold Star Delta species that this person's talking about. Which is insane to me. But yeah, you need to run back to your LGS, dude. Yeah, exactly. There's actually a stack. It's kind of funny. There's a stack of those Heart Gold, Soul Silver energy cards that I bought that collection from that I've been cleaning the last few days, and all of them were fake. I didn't buy them from him because I was looking at his collection beforehand. I was like, dude, I hope you didn't pay a lot for these, because these are all fake. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out, because that's a very good point. Because that 500 is definitely hitting the too good to be true. So just really make sure that it's not fake. Musk, can you look at the Zard EX from Paldean Fates? Sure. Right now we're kind of in like a bonus stream. So if you guys want to just like talk about whatever, I'm more than happy to. Because reviewing all those cards definitely takes some energy. So kind of just kind of going off the cuff and just kind of chilling with chat is a nice little energy rejuicer. So I appreciate it. From Paldean Fates, though. Let me just type in. I should just type in Paldean Fates and stop being lazy. How about that, chat? Paldean Fates. Let's see. This is this is literally just chatting for Pokemon. You're not wrong. Charizard EX Paldean Fates. What everyone wanted the Obsidian Flames one to be, including myself. And they're like, oh crap, that's what people wanted. Let's print it in Paldean Fates. I'm sure I did, Offensive. I've been like streaming for 3 hours. I'm like starting to like get tanked. You pulled it and sent to be graded. Well, I mean, it's worth it. I mean, why not? I mean, it's definitely like one of my big things is let's see, because this is January. Those are pre-sales. So 180. It's actually going down quite a bit. From 180 back in February down to 110. So, I mean, if you wanted this Zard, you know what card that's really been going crazy? Is the fucking Magikarp. What was that from? Magikarp's been going nuts from Paldea Evolved. Look at this. Near mint 150. This card's been going ape. I don't think that's accurate, but let's take a look. Yeah, it's not accurate. But it's still been crazy for a Magikarp. Like 80, 80. I don't know what these are. Yeah, like that's another thing I really hate about TCG Player is that like Japanese cards will sneak in there. 100, 100, 100, 90, 85, 83. Like this Magikarp is going nuts. I just bought the promo Zards and moved on. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Betty. It's just like, I think for me too, like that's one of the biggest things as a small business owner for card collecting. It really gets difficult, and I don't think a lot of people talk about it enough, to where it's like, where do you draw the line between adding cards to your personal collection, and at the same time taking away potential products that you could be selling to your customers. And I've been having a lot harder problem with that recently. Because the sets have been coming out, like a new set comes out like once every 3 months. So it's like super hard to keep up with as a collector. As well as, you know, I want to offer good quality cards to people and not be seen as just, oh, he has shovel product, which for those of you who don't know what shovel products are, it's basically like, yeah, the cases are filled, but is it filled with stuff that people want? And if it's shovelware, then it's like, no, people don't want, you know, V's, you know. But that's kind of it's been a weird dilemma that I've been facing recently. Let's see, cards from Paradox and Fates being misdistributed. That's why they fell so hard. Interesting. I didn't hear about that. I'm sure they're taking from factory. Yeah, Pokemon really needs, like, overall, they really need to just like have a better control of card control. Like I made a video about it with the Pikachu with gray felt hat with people that work at LGS's, you know, selling off to the side and stuff like that, which I'm really glad that Pokemon caught wind and is printing that card to the ground. In my honest opinion, I think people want to just collect it and not have to buy it for $200. It's down to like 80 now. So that's nice that people are finally catching up. The Gyarados hidden art in that card. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, the one in the background. Ben, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. Nar, we're kind of like in like the bonus stage of the stream. We just did probably should even hide this. This isn't even like a recon report. This is probably just like, it's more of like Q&A with chat. Smile. There we go. Q&A with chat. Smile. But yeah, if you get it to PSA, 10s have been selling like crazy. I think the last 10 of Magikarp sold for like $300 or $400, something crazy. My people were offering me 100 copies of each alt from those two sets. That is nutty. Do I go to Collecticon? No, not because I don't want to. It's just more of timing. Because where I'm at in New York, it makes it pretty difficult, and there's also some trips that I have had pre-planned. But I think I think that's one of my goals in 2025 is to attend larger Collecticon events. Because there are some in Jersey, there are some in like Philly, in like that neighboring, like outside of New York, as well as in New York itself. So I think once 2025 rolls around, I might be hitting them up more. But do I go to any regionals? No, Dream. I don't really play card games competitively anymore, just because, like, again, I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh back in like 2012, 2014. Like, I went to a few regionals, I went to a few YCSs, but just like, I don't know, like, it just got really old to try to catch up with meta shifts and you know, spending. If I want to be competitively viable, I have to spend like $500 to $1,000 to $1,500 per deck every 3 months. It just became a lot, to be honest. Come to Allentown next weekend. Big comic show there. That's pretty sick. I'll have to check that out after stream. I didn't even know that was happening. Why be fishy so pricey? I don't know why I read it like that, King Bob. I can imagine. I'll do that again. This is how I actually interpreted. Why be fishy so pricey? I don't know, King Bob. I have no idea. I almost sound like, what's that guy that's been kind of going buck wild on TikTok? Is like World of T-shirts. Why be fishy so pricey? That's how I'd feel like he would talk if he was a Pokemon content creator. You know how many Twisted Teas I could buy for $150? That's crazy. There you go. I could buy so many teas, it's crazy. I know I've hit my 3-hour mark because my my YouTube video of the background music just ended. It was 3-hour and 6-minute mix. Well, I guess we're starting back again. It does look nice, and I think there's kind of like a meme level to it too. The other ones that are kind of going crazy was that the Magikarp and Wailord. I mean, at this point, like, I'm just... It's not that one. What's the other expensive one? The tag teams are nutty. Umbreon Dad Eevee Kid. What a name. Keep if you want it. Not real expensive card, just card it. Yeah, it does. Like, yeah, it's so funny. That guy, that World of T-shirts, his voice is so unique. It's just like slow and slurred. I'm sure you have, Umbreon. Yeah. I'm sure you have. I apologize. I don't mean disrespect. Please. Please have mercy. I'm just a Jolteon enjoyer. Please. Ghastly from Temporal. It's probably going to be... I honestly haven't even looked at the new set. Let's see. The Magikarp was around 90 IDK. Ghastly 25. For just a regular rare, that's pretty impressive. What's the... I wonder what the Gengar, the Morty Gengar. wonder how much that one is. That one's got to be up there. Because everyone loves Gengar. And I'm just too lazy to look up the set. I don't know why I keep doing that. What is it called? Temporal forces, right? Temporal. Oh, I'm just too lazy. I'm gonna look at chat. What's the name? Temporal. Temporal forces. I was just spelling it wrong. Like, this card's been going buck wild. Morty's Conviction. Near mint, $40. I feel like this is a good card to get. Honestly. Gen 2, Gengar. It's checking a lot of boxes. I like Jolteon more than Umbreon, to be honest. Welcome to the club, Chris. That's cool. That's cool, Umbreon. I think that's really important that a lot of people don't talk about, is how important it is to have children have good experience with the Pokemon, because ultimately they are the ones that are going to carry the franchise further. Because I've made that argument so many times ad nauseum, to where like people that were ripping ship, or not ripping shipping, I've been saying it so much, like reselling and scalping. If kids only remember empty shelves and like 50-year-olds like fighting over Pokemon, they're never going to have a good memory of Pokemon. Therefore, they're going to be uninterested. And therefore, all those investments that those 50-year-olds, when they're 75, say, hey, why did my box only go up by $20? I've been sitting on it for 25 years, if they could even hold it for that long, is because the kids that they bullied and pushed out of the way aren't even interested in Pokemon anymore. So yeah, IDK, we just checked the Gengar alt arts. It's pretty crazy how expensive that card is. You think the older cards would be more. I think some are, though, Ben, to be honest. Do I have any master sets? So the only master set that I have, which is actually like a personal collection goal of mine that I completed, was like, I consider like a master set for me back in the day was just having like all 150. So I have all 150 of the vintage like base set Jungle Fossil graded as 9s or higher. So that's like my end all be all master set, to be honest. That was like my biggest collection goal. And I apologize. You guys are awesome and saying a lot of comments. So if I miss any, it's no disrespect. There's just the chat's going pretty fast, so I'm trying to read as many as I can. So if you have to repeat yourself, you might have to. So I apologize, but I appreciate it. Appreciate all the love and support. You guys have been awesome. Sydney, thanks so much for the follow. What other cards do we want to look at? Ben, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's crazy. Remember that one incident back during COVID? It was the Target incident where someone was like brandishing a firearm because they were like limiting, and then they ended up like limiting packs to like 1 pack per person. Do you guys remember that? Oh, Poke, another donut, keeping my energy boosted. Appreciate you, brother. You guys remember that? It's just weird, like a lot of the collector stuff that happened back in COVID is such like a blur to me, but yeah, it was crazy. That's why like all those signs started popping up in Target. You know what's another really interesting topic to talk about? Is One Piece. I'm not really like, I wasn't really like big into One Piece per se, like the show. But I think it's really impressive, especially in 2023, 2024, that out of any TCG that has currently come out, like Rip MetaZoo, for example, One Piece is probably the closest we've ever seen to where we're actually starting to consider like the big 4 versus the big 3, which I think is really impressive. Brother, I need some sugar or something. I'm like, but that's what's kind of nice about chatting with a engaging chat. The vibes are immaculate. The T's are twisted. The teams are special. We're vibing now, boys. We're deep. We're deep into the 3+ hour territory. We don't know where we've never been this far. We have no idea what happens next. I wonder what vintage. I wonder what the. I think that's a good point. Let's see. Let's check out the old base set Zard. And this is another reason why I think going to trade shows is super important, because I bought a near mint Zard that I actually got back graded as a PSA 8. I talked the guy down to selling it to me for $225 back in November. And a near mint copy now goes for probably like $350, $375. So I think it's anytime you go to a card show, don't be afraid to haggle, because I got this as near mint for $225. Yeah, we're definitely in uncharted territory, says the man with the black flag from Pirates of the Caribbean. Have I watched Attack on Titan movies? No. Honestly, like, without explaining it, I'm really afraid to watch anime because I have like a somewhat of an addictive personality. So like if I get really invested into a show, like I do nothing but watch that. And like you guys see how far behind I am for grade review. Like if I started watching anime, the grades would be like once every 2 months. But I'm like into super old anime. Like I'm a huge fan. Like I grew up with like Cowboy Bebop. I grew up with Ghost in the Shell, Samurai Champloo, Gundam Wing. What else? Neon Genesis Evangelion, Serial Experiments Lane, Studio Ghibli. Honestly, like if you guys want some Galaxia Gaming lore, the whole motif of my brand, along with my mascot Eve, who you've probably seen, like if you guys watch enough of my videos, you'll see like an anime girl is heavily influenced by Toonami. So that's honestly where I got a lot of my motivation and my branding from, with like the technology and the space theme was from Toonami. So the more you know. I missed the OP stuff. Basically, King, all I was saying was that I think it's really impressive that that One Piece is starting to become considered like in one of the big four, which I think has never been discussed before. Which I think is really, I think it's a really important topic to kind of view, which is pretty big. But people through Dragon Ball. People thought Dragon Ball was going to be all that when it came out and was hot. Yeah, we'll see. I think really the only thing, Dream, that I think about when I compare, because that's a good point, right? Because because obviously a TCG now, like if it's based on an anime, the anime has to be extremely popular to kind of keep it up a lot longer. But I think with One Piece specifically, I think since it kind of came out the other end, like it didn't start like during COVID, but a lot of people when they saw like MetaZoo was kind of the canary in the coal mine. When MetaZoo came out, right, everyone's big assumption was that it was just a pump and dump, which it was. Like I'm not. That's going to be like a pretty strong stance that I have just based off of everything that happened with MetaZoo. So when a new TCG comes out, I think everyone's instant like speculation that that's just going to be another pump and dump, or it's going to be another, whatever market manipulation tactic. But the fact that it stayed on, like has stood through that and have had pretty large like tournaments has been pretty impressive. I don't watch much anime either, but my fave old anime is Chobits. Honestly, I have no idea what that is. But for whatever reason, that name just reminded me of another anime I used to love as a kid, which was Zoids. The budget Gundam. The Top Sun Zard. Man, I'd have to look at that, honestly, Ree. I haven't I haven't looked at a lot of Top Sun cards a while. There we go. I'm loving that we're seeing some Zoids fans. I don't know. You know what's really weird for those of you guys that have watched Zoids? There's one scene in particular. I don't know why it stands out to be the most. Was when, and I don't even remember the character's name, but it was like the main character and like the blonde girl were in a diner, and she was drinking coffee, and instead of pouring sugar in her coffee, she poured like straight salt. For whatever reason, that scene specifically always stands out to me the most. Because my mom used to, like, obviously, like every parent, they just chugged coffee. So it's like, oh, like my parents drink coffee and put sugar, and it's like they're putting salt in there. She's putting salt in her coffee. That's weird. Speed Racer and Kimba. That's definitely past my time, Poke. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Kind of like, I don't know, like Zard for me was like really big. Like it was a cool card to get because it was, had one of the strongest attacks. It had some of the highest HP as a kid. Like when I when I didn't know how to play the game. So like bigger numbers equaled better, right? But it makes the coffee taste better. I think like you got pranked, Ree. I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. It's not April Fool's anymore. But yeah, I'm right there with you. The base set Zard kind of is, I don't know. Like for me, because because in the Discord, you guys have probably seen it because I took a picture of this once. I have a wall of all my original childhood cards framed on my wall, and so what I'm looking at in particular that I loved as a kid was Zapdos. Zapdos was probably my favorite base, like old vintage, like from Fossil Jungle base set was Zapdos for sure. Zapdos from base set, not Zapdos from Fossil. Yeah, I think another, like, this was like, if I could go back in time and tell my middle school self that Pokemon was still cool, like getting like Skyridge, Aquapolis, Expedition, these holos, like this is when Pokemon did not care. They were just throwing all of these like incredible artwork at like the wall, right? Like the Crystal series, right? The Crystal Kabutops, the Crystal Celebi, the Raikou, these cards are just so insane. Like they just are so good. Like this Kabutops, this one's sick. Damaged 125. Google, it tames the bitterness and boosts the flavor. Ree, you know what? If you're following the TikTok or if you're in the Discord, I'm gonna try it. I'll try it tomorrow just for your sake. I'll put salt in my coffee tomorrow and I'll tell you if I'll rank it out of 1. I'll give it a PSA grade on what I think coffee with salt will taste like. So if you're not following me, that's gonna be my bait to you. Follow the TikTok and link in the Discord, and I'll give you a PSA rating on how I think the coffee tastes with salt in it. You freak. I mean that in the nicest way. There we go. There's the bait. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. That's so funny. Let's see. Yeah, Zapdos is just so sick. Especially it was like what what was I'm gonna have chat be my Google real quick. What was the second Pokemon movie with all 3 legendary birds? Zapdos and that popped off. Zapdos went ape in that movie. Was it Lugia 2001? Because the birds went Super Saiyan. The birds went Super Saiyan and the Zapdos just popped off. Like watching that was a huge highlight for me. Get Firehouse Coffee, Vanilla Bean Bourbon. I'm a big bourbon guy, so I might try that. Torchic. Oh, the Gold Star too. I actually picked up a few of these in PSA 10s not too long ago. That's another recon report for another day. But I decided to get some good cards to put in the showcase. I got a PSA 10 Jolteon from Skyridge, a PSA 10 Flareon, and a PSA 10 Arcanine. There were some pretty good auctions going on that I decided to pick some of these up. Oh yeah, Team Rocket Returns was such a crazy set for like all the Gold Star Gen 3 starters. I have a sealed special delivery Bidoof. What's the chances I get a 10 out of the package? I would definitely say submit that in the Discord for sure. We'll have to check that out. And so Betty doesn't have to pin it, I'll tell you. So if you go to the pinned video in my channel, grade review and how to, just watch that video and you can learn how to do submit for grade review. I think since I'm so backlogged, I'm definitely going to stream Saturday and Sunday. So you guys are getting like a bonus full week of me streaming. So I'll definitely be streaming some more grade review on Saturday and Sunday for sure. Because I literally looked at the grade review. Betty helped me out. We had so many submissions that Discord thought I was getting like spam botted. So it definitely means a lot that you guys like this stuff for sure. But yeah, I'm such a sucker for e-readers, Patrick. I am such a sucker for e-readers. This shit's so cool to me. It did happen the other week. It's a good problem to have for sure. It's a good problem. That's all good. Because like I get it, you know, because you have to essentially submit 2 pictures for 1 card at the minimum. So it's like whatever. It really doesn't bother me. Now I'm just like clicking around Skyridge. This Starmie looks so derpy looking. The Rapdash in a PSA 10. Okay. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I saw that it is 10:25. I've been look at me. I'm becoming out of the realm of a part-timer, 2.5-hour streamer to almost 4 hours. So I have a lot of things to catch up with because the Discord is popping off. So yeah, this was probably one of the most fun streams I've had in a while. I'm not gonna lie. For number 10, for grade review episode 10, this one's definitely one to remember. So I definitely appreciate the homies sticking around for as long as you have. The support, I cannot express how much all the support means to me. I don't care if I say it ad nauseum. I don't care if people complain about how much I say it. The appreciation is definitely there. And as a small content creator, any support truly means the world to me. I can't express that enough. You guys are awesome. And yeah, if you haven't followed, make sure to do so. Again, we have the giveaway ending in 5 days. So if you go back to my videos, you'll see a box giveaway. Definitely check that out. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Appreciate it. And I'll, if you're following the TikTok in Discord, I'll probably be streaming Saturday and Sunday because I have a lot to catch up on with the grade reviews. You guys are popping off in there. So look forward to that. And as always, appreciate it and have a good rest of your night. Peace.